Press Business Desk. I'm Erin Sousa.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. This is Ryan. We got Lisa here. Good morning, Lisa.
Morning, Ryan.
How you doing?
I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah.
I just want to address something right away, which
Okay.
is going to be kind of funny because...
Should we sit down?
well, apparently, because you know how you're listening maybe to CFAX 1070 on AM radio. Maybe you are watching the CTV simulcast, which the radio station also goes out to.
Correct.
But that one's not working, apparently. We're not on TV
That's
this
why
morning.
I have no internet connection and it's looking all angry. Okay.
So I'm getting a lot of text messages here saying, hey, what's going on? Why are you not on the TV?
Right.
The engineers are working on it. Some little technical snafu I don't understand. I just push the buttons here and talk on the radio, but something's gone wrong.
Sometimes you play a doctor, a lawyer,
I think
or a
we just came
baseball
back.
player.
I think we just came back. So hello,
Because
everybody.
you mentioned it?
Yeah, that's probably why. Hello, everybody on the TV stream. We're back. Sorry about the snafu.
All you have to do is mention. It's like taking it to the mechanic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
We showed
and there's
up.
a sound, and then when you take it to the mechanic, the sound is not there.
Right.
Okay.
That's exactly what just
played.
happened.
Well played.
Well, there you go. Okay, so that's all back. But for
What
everybody
else can you
texting,
fix?
I was going to make a joke because I was going to answer the texters, but they wouldn't be able to hear because they were watching on the TV where we weren't. But
True.
we're back now, so all is
Do you
well.
have the winning lottery numbers?
Maybe I must, yeah. You know what? Speaking of winning, let's talk about that. We
Okay.
have two things you can win today on the show. One is the Ancient Egypt Prize Pack.
Yes.
We got 4 passes to go see the new Egyptian exhibit coming to the Royal BC Museum, but we've also got this food gift card and IMAX passes for a whole, day out. It's such a good prize. We're only
Love it.
giving away one of them, and we're going to do more Egypt trivia later in the show. We've also got an ancient Egypt expert from the museum joining us today on the program in the 7
nice.
o'clock hour to talk more about Egypt and this exhibit that's coming. So that's all ahead. It's also still the CFAX Summer of Rock. You laugh at me every time I say that. You can't just say it normally. You
No.
got to give it a little bit of
Oomph.
juice. So you're listening this week for AC/DC songs. That is the artist of the week. If you hear an AC/DC song,
Okay.
text ROCK, R-O-C-K, to 71010. You'll be entered to win the draw for that prize. Powered by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt. It's Helijet tickets. It's Rosedale and Robson Street Hotel accommodation and the tickets to go see.
And we heard from our
AC/DC.
first winner, too.
Oh,
Who
can
went
I
to the
read that
pub.
to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I
he
got-
sent a photo and everything.
I got an email from the winner of the first one, which was the Black Keys. Thank you so much for that much needed trip. It was a great first-time experience. The Helijet ride was awesome. You were right. There was a shuttle from the Helijet pad in Vancouver. It didn't take us to the Rosedale, but close enough, just 4 blocks away.
Okay.
The hotel was great, including breakfast. The Black Keys were amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Say hi to Ryan and Lisa. We love CFAX. You guys rock. Oh, that's so
cool.
nice.
We have people here that went to the Black Keys. They said it was a phenomenal show.
Oh, cool.
But the photo, it's interesting because you'd think they would get a photo at the Black Keys, with the stage in the background or something. No, it's him and his wife in front of the Helijet.
It's even better.
It's fantastic.
Even
'cause
better.
I have a photo of myself. When I first took Helijet, I took a photo of myself in front of it.
I
you
did too.
feel like a rock star just getting on Helijet.
I did too. The first time I took Helijet. Well, the only time I took Helijet, I had to. You had to get off the helicopter and take the plane.
Yeah, and then you just get up and you're floating over the water and over the, you can see everything, and it's a big open window. It's just crazy. It's gorgeous.
Very
Anyway,
good.
that alone is worth the price of admission. So, yes, onward and upward. And the AC/DC show is August 13th. I think it's a Friday or Saturday. So you got to be available for that.
Well, listen for the next AC/DC song for your chance to win. At 6:17, over to the headlines. Here's Lisa.
Thank you. If the federal NDP get their way, potential floor crossers will have a tougher time switching parties in the future. NDP parliamentary leader Don Davies introduced a bill yesterday that, if passed, would require floor crossers in the House of Commons to first face voters, something a lot of people have been asking for since there was a bit of a plethora of movement in the fall. The bill says no MP would be permitted to cross the floor without first sitting as an independent and then contesting and winning a seat under the new banner, that is Democracy in Action. Davies says the Prime Minister Mark Carney's move in recent months to secure a majority government through floor crossing was undemocratic. Going to be a busy mid-summer 10-day stretch for the performers, the musicians of the Victoria Symphony Orchestra. The orchestra is bringing its annual Symphony in the Summer Festival back. That happens starting July 30th. That includes a new free event for families and young children, August 2nd, at the Bauman Center. It has a second free event planned in conjunction with the David Foster Foundation. That big extravaganza in the Inner Harbor goes to August 8th. And the schedule includes a pair of concerts at Christ Church Cathedral, another at Butchart Gardens. That'll be a beautiful setting. And also one up in Qualicum Beach, so they're covering some ground. The NHL could face some scheduling headaches when BC moves to permanent daylight saving time in the fall. Alberta follows suit, and of course, Manitoba considering it as well. Once clocks fall back on November 1st, much of the country, the time difference with BC and Alberta will shrink by an hour. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman says the league will deal with the change, though it could affect start times in Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Experts say the change could disrupt traditional hockey doubleheaders and force adjustments to TV schedules. That's your news to 6:18.
Thank you, Lisa. Coming up next, you remember on Monday we spoke to MLA Ravi Parmar, he's the forest minister as well. But in this context, he was the MLA for Langford, where they have opened up this new thing he was talking about, this thing called Foundry, mental health and wellness services for youth. There's also some childcare. It was all this big thing they were opening up there.
On Carlo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a busy street now.
Yeah, so lots going on there. But what exactly is this thing they opened up? Let's get some more details on that. The Director of Implementation for Foundry, Suk Westshore, joining us next to kind of elaborate on that and learn a bit more. So that's coming up right after traffic and weather next.
Want a junk-free summer? CFAX 1070 has got your back. Enter online for your chance to win a complete summer cleaning service from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Greater Victoria's trusted professional junk removal team. Enter to win today at cfax1070.com.
CFAX at 70 traffic and weather. Well, it's an easy start to the day. No crashes, no accidents, no problems out there on the roads. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits for the weather. It's a bit odd in that it's so warm right now. Didn't really cool off too much overnight. Again, I'm looking at temperatures that are as high as about 20 degrees in some parts of Greater Victoria here at 6:20 in the morning at what's usually the coolest part of the day. It will not get too much warmer. It will eventually hit a high of about 22, but we'll start to see some wind off the Juantafuca Strait. It's going to start to cool off by the water a bit more today as we go on. Cloudy tonight and cloudy through the day, in fact. Lows down to 11 overnight. Mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. Highs of 18, cooler by the water. Rain arriving for Friday. We got a chance of showers through the weekend, but we'll see some sunny breaks too, it looks like. Kind of a mixed bag over the weekend ahead, but definitely a bit cooler and a little more unsettled compared to the beginning of the week.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
There is a new youth health facility coming to Langford that we learned about on Monday. It's a project to bring childcare, mental health, and wellness services to this two-story building on Carlo Road. The Foundry is the name of it. They're the ones heading up the mental health and wellness service part of this. And to learn more about it, their director of implementation, Kathy Easton, is on the line. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to talk to you. So we want to learn more about this thing coming to Carlow Road, but I guess just in general, Foundry, what is that?
Foundry is a network of youth centers across BC that provide free integrated health and social services for young people aged 12 to 24. We're actually part of a network of integrated youth services across Canada and internationally.
So this is a much bigger deal than just this.
Absolutely. Locally, Thrive Social Services has been granted the permission to open a foundry here in the West Shore. We're a local nonprofit agency that's been around for 30 years, and we're really excited to be able to bring this project, this Foundry West Shore, to Langford and to our permanent home.
How long has it taken to get here?
It's taken a couple of years to find space in West Shore. It's among the fastest growing communities in BC and Canada, and not surprisingly, it's difficult to find a space that's large enough to support this kind of a project.
Talk about the space. Like, what do you need to do there? Talk about what the program looks like.
Yeah, there's 5 core service areas that are part of a foundry. It brings together social services, so you don't need to have problems to come to Foundry if you're a young person aged 12 to 24. It's there for everyone. There's education and employment support, peer support for young people and their families, physical, sexual health care, substance use health, as well as mental health supports.
And it's in this building on Carlow Road, or it will be once it's done, which is also bringing a childcare space. Is there any benefit or any kind of strategy behind putting these two things together?
Well, it's just a fantastic way to serve families all in one location. With the child care center, from what I understand, will have before and after school care. And Foundry serves youth aged 12 to 24 and their families. Regardless of whether the youth are accessing care or not, the services are available for families and caregivers. So they might have a young person, a little person in child care, and a slightly older person maybe attending before and after school care who could come up to Foundry and get some supports.
Well, we're talking to the Director of Implementation with Foundry Souk West Shore, Kathy Easton, and we learned about this. And I guess a $7.1 million injection of provincial and federal funding through Childcare BC's New Spaces Fund is going into this. And is that helping you as well? Or how does that money fit into your project, again, in this building that's also got the childcare spaces?
Yeah, they're completely separate. The City of Langford is working on the child care spaces, but our project with Thrive Social Services for the Foundry West Shore on the second floor is funded through the Ministry of Health, through Foundry BC, as well as Health Canada. And we're so excited and grateful to announce a donation from the Norgard Foundation for $2 million that is going to help Thrive bring this Foundry West Shore to reality.
Oh, cool. Okay. So final question for you in all of this. Talk about how badly this new site is needed. Talk about the need for this kind of service in that area.
Well, we've known for a long time that young people are struggling with their mental well-being, and having these services closer to home here in the West Shore is really going to make a difference for them. Young people and families are not going to have to go to 3 different places to get help with mental health or physical health. They'll have everything they need all in one location, and that's really the transformative nature of Foundry. We also bring together all the service providers who already provide services to 12 to 24-year-olds. So that means that Island Health, MCFD, School District, all the nonprofits, Boys and Girls Club, Pacific Family family services who are already operating here in the West Shore will come and operate out of that foundry so that, like I said, everything in one place, one-stop shop. You don't have to try and figure out where to go to get help. They can just come to the foundry and get help when they need it.
Well, Kathy Easton, thank you so much for talking to us about all of this. Good luck. When do you expect it to be up and running?
We're so excited about this project. It is moving very quickly, and we expect to be open in spring of 2028.
Okay. Well, we'll watch for that. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Quick break. We got the 6:30 news next on CFAX.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Victoria Track Classic is June 12th at Centennial Stadium. Details at runsport.ca/Track Classic. Help care for local wildlife and enter to win the Wild Arc Raffle. June 1st through 18th, you can buy your tickets at spca.bc.ca.
Get more event info at cfax1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 6:30 on Wednesday, June 3rd. Kind of a warm start to the day. We've got already temperatures in the high teens, even some places around 20 degrees to start the day, and overcast skies. We'll get you the full forecast in just a moment. But right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning. Premier David Eby says his main priority remains working with the federal government to advance BC projects. Eby was asked about his reaction to last week's report about the potential pipeline routes being considered between Alberta and our coast.
Well, I mean, this is the first suggestion I'm seeing of potential routes. The province of Alberta, the federal government, and the taxpayer-funded company that runs the Trans Mountain Pipeline have been doing this work. British Columbia has not been at the table. I won't speculate about whether or not these are actually the routes. I don't know.
Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Canada's chief trade negotiator Janice Charest were both in Washington yesterday, meeting with the U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer. LeBlanc had called it a positive discussion, noting that long-standing issues around sectoral tariffs were raised. He says they discussed the letter he sent Monday to his American and Mexican counterparts, in which he recommended a renewal of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement on trade for another 16 years.
I think it's in the economic interest of North America to commit to that trilateral framework for another 16 years. We took stock of the work that the Americans want to do with Canada and the work that we're prepared to do over the coming weeks.
Mexico's economic secretary also called for the pact's 16-year renewal. For his part, Greer has only said publicly he'd be open to two separate bilateral agreements, but had noted that aspects of CUSMA work very well. This is the Trump administration is proposing more tariffs on dozens of trading partners, including Canada, following a probe into imported goods allegedly made with forced labor.
The report released early today by U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer says Canada, Mexico, Taiwan, and the United Kingdom would face 10% tariffs for allegedly failing to enforce a forced labor import ban. Greer claimed failure to prevent such imports burdens or restricts U.S. commerce. An additional levy of 12.5% would be imposed on other countries, including China, India, Japan, South Korea, Brazil, and Switzerland. The new tariffs are subject to public comment and review. The strategy would enable U.S. President Donald Trump to skirt Supreme Court-imposed limits on his tariffs. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
NDP Parliamentary Leader Don Davies introducing a private member's bill that would compel floor crossers to face their voters before they could switch parties.
The bill says no MP would be permitted to cross the floor without first sitting as an independent and then contesting and winning a seat under the new party banner. Davies says Prime Minister Mark Carney's move to secure a majority government through floor crossings is undemocratic.
It's elementary that in a democracy, elections are the foundational opportunity for voters to express their democratic choice.
Davies says while he's not optimistic about the Liberal government passing his bill, he hopes parliamentarians come together to help restore faith in the system. Lisa Laporte, The Canadian Press.
A BC nonprofit that supports people with spinal injuries was forced to cancel a raffle for a pair of World Cup tickets after accusations from FIFA. Lawyers for the soccer's governing body accused the nonprofit trademark infringement and ticket rule violation. Spinal cord injury BC Executive Director Chris McBride says the raffling of the tickets from the June 21st game in Vancouver was meant to be a fun way to raise money.
We were a little surprised, but we understood that we were in violation of their policies. I mean, there's no real complaint there from us. We're just disappointed that this small little enterprise was being the opportunity was being denied to us.
A statement from FIFA says tickets can't be used for any advertising, promotional, or competition purposes, including raffles, sweepstakes, or similar activities, without prior written consent. And in health news, a Canadian pancreatic cancer specialist is hoping to open clinical trials soon for patients for an experimental drug that could actually double survival time.
Medical oncologist Dr. Jennifer Knox at Toronto's Princess Margaret Cancer Centre independently reviewed a U.S.-led study of the daily pill Daraxonrasib and calls the results amazing. The Phase 3 clinical trial of 500 pancreatic cancer patients found those who took the pill survived for over a year, twice as long as those who had chemotherapy alone. Revolution Medicines has applied to the U.S. FDA to license the drug, but Health Canada says it has not received a similar application at this point. Knox plans to open clinical trials, though, so as many patients as possible can get the experimental drug without waiting for it to be licensed. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
That's your CFAX News to 6:36. Your CFAX 1070 News poll question. Since today is Clean Air Day and BC Transit is free for the day, we're asking how often do you hop on a bus? 6% frequently do, 22% occasionally, 72% say never. You can vote at CFAX1070.com at the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 6:37.
Lisa, text just came in, 71010.
Yes.
says, good morning. Just wanted to mention it started to rain in Langford. You know, that makes a lot of sense because just the air feels so heavy. It's so weird and warm and just thick,
right?
The air outside. So I'm not surprised. We didn't have rain in the forecast today, but I'm not surprised to see it. So we're starting to see a few showers. Might just be a small blip, though, today. And we'll get you a full look at the forecast. But
You're saying we shouldn't listen to you, Ryan?
Yeah, never trust the weather guy. But yeah, text her at 71010. Thank you so much for that observation in Langford. It's weird start to the day, that's for sure, weather-wise. If you're heading out into it, it's not our typical Victoria West Coast kind of morning. In the sports, so much going on. Let's start in hockey, where Thomas Hertl took a backhanded pass from the slot with 3:24 left in the third period, lifting the Vegas Golden Knights past the Carolina Hurricanes 5-4 in the opener of the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas coach John Tortorella says defense was hit and miss for both teams last night.
You just never know what's going to happen. And I've said it all through the playoffs. It's a find-a-way league. We found a way tonight.
Game 2 of the best-of-7 series goes tomorrow, again in Raleigh, with Vegas already having taken home ice away from the Hurricanes as it chases a second Cup title in 4 seasons. Over to WHL hockey, just a quick note about the Victoria Royals. They made a significant trade, picking up offensive D-man Nate Ilawaga from the Red Deer Rebels in exchange for a 2027 4th, 2028 2nd, and 2030 4th round pick. He was originally bound to play at the University of Maine this coming season. The Victoria Harbour Cats were in action last night for their home opener. Maybe you saw the Skydivers coming down. That was part of the festivities. This was against the Edmonton Riverhawks, and the Harbour Cats coming out on top with a 6-3 victory for that first home game of the season. Those same 2 teams are at it again tonight and tomorrow. And then on Friday, the Harbour Cats will have the Kelowna Falcons in town for a 3-game series starting on Friday. That's the one Lisa and I will be at. We'll be throwing that first pitch. Atlanta Braves defeating the visiting Toronto Blue Jays 4-3 last night. Seattle Mariners defeating the New York Mets 8-3. And the best-of-7 NBA Finals tip-off tonight in Texas as the San Antonio Spurs host the New York Knicks at Frost Bank Center. That's the CFAX Sports to 640. CFAX at 70 traffic and weather. Got another text message here, 71010. It's raining and 19 degrees at Bear Mountain, says this texter. Very odd weather this morning. Yes, I agree. So we've got some rain coming down that wasn't necessarily in the forecast, but completely makes sense if you just walk outside and feel the air. It's just this heavy kind of air and very warm to start the day. It's 15 degrees officially at the Victoria International Airport, but in parts of Langford, it's 19 degrees right now. So warm, muggy. Now there's some rain coming down for parts of Greater Victoria. I guess that's the morning we're in. The forecast is calling for just a mainly cloudy day for the rest of the day, with highs around 22 degrees and a bit of wind building off the Juan de Fuca Strait. Longer range forecast tonight, partly cloudy, lows to 11, mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. We got showers on Friday and a mix of sun and cloud with a chance of showers through Saturday and Sunday. On the markets, well, the opening bells are just ringing for North American stock market. So let's look at how things closed off yesterday. S&P TSX up 434 points yesterday to 35,169. The Dow in New York was up 228 to 51,307. The NASDAQ was up 7 to 27,093. Canadian dollar at 72.1 cents US, which is down just a little bit from the close yesterday.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Another texter 71010 just reminding us that with the Harbor Cats season back in action, not only is Friday the day that Lisa and I are going to throw a first pitch, I still don't know which one of us throws or if we both throw. Got to figure that out.
I'm okay to stand back and just let you enjoy all the glory.
I would love it if we could both throw at the same time and sort of see.
I'll hold your beer.
See if the catcher could deal with that. Anyways,
I'm sure he can.
But Texter says Saturday
Yes.
it's the Harbor Cats fireworks night.
Oh, I love it.
So that's another good thing to point out.
It's they do a really good, bang up show. Can we call it that?
Oh,
makes sense, right?
The Harbor Cats just. There's something about it's the Harbor Cats do a really good job of this, but baseball in general,
Yeah.
I feel like the atmosphere at a ballpark is something they do better than any other sport.
I
Just
agree.
sort of the vibe, the food, the drinks, the spectacle. I don't know what it is. Baseball games are just something special.
There's just a overall friendlier vibe. Is that
I don't
it?
know, yeah.
I think it's because there's no real strong proscenium between, like with hockey, for example, you've got all the boards there, you've got all this protection, and you have some of that with the game, but not really. If there's a ball that goes awry, it could come into the stands for you, which happens quite often.
Yeah.
And that's how kids get a free baseball. Something of collector's item. But it's just, I don't know, that you're out in the sunshine, and there's other sports you do that too, like Pacific FC, for example, right? I'm 100% with you. The whole summertime vibe with baseball, they've got that, definitely in their camp. on the
Nothing
diamond.
like a summertime baseball game.
Right?
Another texter at 71010 says, good morning. It is very muggy and some rain in Saanich. So there's Saanich checking in as this little random bout of rain hits us. I should walk outside here to Esquimalt to see, because I don't see any. I can't see it through the window.
Kind of hermetically sealed in here.
Yeah, I'm looking out the window.
But
I
it
don't
is cloudy.
see any, but I'm gonna go check that in a few
Okay.
minutes. But
All
right
right.
now, let's get to the
Come back,
headlines.
though.
Yeah, I'll come back.
That's important.
I'm just gonna decide it's time. I've had enough show. It's all good. Lisa, you got this from here,
Just
right?
lock the door on the way out.
I promise to come back. 6:45. Here's Lisa.
There's a recall with Ford's. It's always a recall with something, right? With this, Ford is recalling nearly 420,000 vehicles due to a seatbelt issue. That's kind of important. They're recalling the vehicles because the seatbelt issue may result in injury if a crash occurs. That makes sense. The National Highway Safety Administration in the U.S. has a report. The recall includes certain Ford Expedition Lincoln Navigator vehicles with models years 2018 through 22. So if you're driving one of those, you might want to make a phone call. The issue involves seatbelts may lock inadvertently, not allowing them to retract or extend. BC Ferry is implementing a temporary 5% surcharge on your ticket price. That starts June 16th. This is in response to the fuel prices jumping globally due to the Strait of Hormuz being closed. The temporary surcharge will apply to all routes authorized by the Commission under the regulatory framework, and it's helping to manage significant fluctuations in fuel costs over time. So if the price does go down for a suspended period of time, they will drop the fuel prices again for us. A pair of Olympians have been chosen to be this year's Calgary Stampede Parade Marshals. Olympic medalist, short track speed skater Courtney Sarot and mogul skier Mikhail Kingsbury will share the duties leading the parade in downtown Calgary on July 3rd. The Stampede runs July 3rd through 12th. Kingsbury says he's thrilled, but isn't much of a horseman. He had to do some training since he's only ridden a couple of times. He says he does intend to be a cowboy for the day. Pretty cool. That's your news to 646.
Thank you, Lisa. We will take a quick break here. When we get back, we're talking to Green Party leader and local MP Elizabeth May. There's a change afoot in Ottawa to do with environmental protections and endangered species specifically. Some critics are saying this might endanger some endangered species. What exactly is being changed here? We're going to get a sense of that with Elizabeth May. That's coming up next. We'll also take a look at traffic and weather on this somewhat strange morning with this weird muggy rain happening over Victoria that we will continue to track. That's next. We'll get to all that in just a moment.
The CFAX 1070 Summer of Rock. All right. Win a trip to Vancouver and catch a concert from the Sax Point Pub Summer of Rock lineup. Listen to CFAX from 6 till 6.
When you hear a clip from our Artist of the Week,
Text ROCK to 71010 with your first name
to win that concert.
You'll fly with Helijet and stay at the Rosedale on Robson Suite Hotel. Brought to you by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt.
Stream us on the iHeartRadio app.
CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Happy is deals and rewards in one app. Earn Scene Plus points faster by downloading the Thrifty Foods app and linking your Scene Plus card for personalized offers just for you. Another text at 71010 saying, hey, there's not a drop of rain in Mill Bay yet, and we need it desperately, so please send some our way. Well, I'll try to do that if I can. Yeah, we are seeing just sort of a random little bout of rain. It's very light, but some light showers just kind of wafting over parts of Greater Victoria, and it's weirdly warm outside. If you I came to work in the 5 o'clock hour this morning, and it was just warm, like daytime warm and muggy feelings. I'm not surprised this heavy air is turning into a bit of rain. The temperatures around the region, again, it's 6 in the morning here, and it's already 20 degrees for some parts of Greater Victoria, and we will eventually hit a high of 22, so we're not actually going to warm up that much. In fact, we could even start to feel a bit cooler as some wind starts blowing a little later today off the Juan de Fuca Strait. Then for the rest of the longer range forecast, we are looking at tonight, partly cloudy skies, little breeze, lows to 11, a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, highs of 18, showers on Friday, and a mix of sun and cloud with a chance of showers for the rest of the weekend.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Okay, here's my rough understanding. There's a federal discussion paper on proposed changes to getting major projects built that's getting some attention from environmental advocates who say the proposed changes could jeopardize the survival of some endangered species. Specifically, the paper's floating the idea of giving governor and council officials limited power with a high threshold to be met to exempt specific projects from the application of the jeopardy test for species at risk. That all sounds like a lot of bureaucratic speak, but I guess right now you've got to prove you're not going to hurt the species at risk. They might be changing that, is my rough understanding, but you know who has a better understanding of this is my next guest, Green Party leader and local MP Elizabeth May, on the line to talk about it. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, Ryan, and it's just great to be hearing your voice. Good morning to Victoria from Ottawa, which is, 3 hours time zone difference and temperature difference. But, thank you for raising this. I'm, as you can imagine, quite distressed.
Yeah, no, and I'm still trying to get my head around it a little bit, so help us just understand the basic issue here. So I guess this is back to the general theme of this federal government we're seeing a lot. Let's build, right? Build the infrastructure, build the industry. Let's get Canada building. And is this an attempt to try to speed up some of those projects if you don't have to be as worried about species at risk? Or how does that play in? I don't quite get what's happening here.
Well, they're making it what now would be illegal would be to make a conscious decision that you could drive a species to extinction. And if a minister has decided that you can't, it very rarely happens that it's observed. Recently, by the way, a First Nation here in Ontario and Quebec, a nation within the Algonquin Nation, actually is, for the moment, stopping a nuclear disposal site at the surface level near the Ottawa River because a number of endangered species were threatened. And the Environment Canada had obligingly said, we're going to say you get an exemption under the Species at Risk Act. So it's not as though our Species at Risk law, believe it or not, the U.S. Endangered Species Act that was brought in under Richard Nixon, even with Trump in the White House, is still stronger than Canadian law. But this proposal, shockingly, appears to be not just an exemption, but a bulldozer to say that exempt from the application of the test at all. And then it says, but only if it's in the public interest. Now, who decides that is going to be Cabinet. And if the proponent has made all reasonable efforts to avoid or reduce impacts on species at risk. So this is and there's a lot of things like this. We're going to exempt this, exempt that. First Nations are going to have to, provide comments faster, and we're going to move quickly. It's ironic to me because the literature around management of big projects makes it, and by literature I mean research, that when major projects are getting built, one of the mistakes that can really slow things down is moving to construction too quickly before you've actually examined all the factors that you have to consider in construction. I don't know where this idea that everything has to be done fast came from. Doing things right really matters. But this is a discussion paper, again. The discussion paper highlighted the species at risk in a way particularly combined with the push for more pipelines into BC and the push for more tankers through our waters, that a number of really strong environmental legal groups and academics have said this looks actually like it might be specifically to exempt from protection the southern resident killer whales. Now, that commentary, which is getting some media coverage, is apparently having an impact. So what we've got now is a discussion paper, and if we make enough noise, which I'm certainly encouraging, we could keep it from being in legislation because it is a horror, and that if we did have this kind of thing that said, well, if it's in the national interest, you can't protect a species at risk, then, for instance, this court case that was just won by the Quebec Algonquin Nation to protect this area in the watershed of the Ottawa River, which is, drinking water for millions of people, where there shouldn't be a nuclear waste disposal site. I'm just using that as an example. The First Nation was able to win that case because the law says you have to protect a species at risk or take reasonable steps. If this discussion paper became law, no one could ever do that again. You say, well, no, but it's the Cabinet has decreed this is in the national interest, whatever this is, pipelines, tankers, toxic waste sites, you name it. If the law changes, then people can't go to court to enforce the law to protect the species at risk. And I guess it's for British Columbians and certainly people on southern Vancouver Island, I think the degree of concern about our southern resident killer whale population is pretty demonstrable. I don't think wild salmon and our orcas are iconic and part of our whole culture and tourism industry and all kinds of aspects of who we are as British Columbians. It's not a small thing to decide they should just go extinct because it's convenient in the moment. So it's very concerning that the Carney administration would even put forward this proposal for a discussion paper. By the way, if you want to comment on it, the discussion period ends on June 8th.
Okay, so that's coming up pretty soon. This is just being discussed. Like you said, it's not like the law of the land yet. It's being discussed, but I guess you're hoping if all that sounds bad to you, people will reach out and maybe jump on the public consultation. How do people do that?
Yeah, well, and I said June 8th. The consultation paper was put forward May 8th, but the end of the consultation is actually June 7th. So we don't have much time.
Sunday.
If you go to Government of Canada website and you plug in discussion paper getting major projects built in Canada, it gives you a place to put in your comments. So, and also you can put in comments by writing a letter to the editor of the Times Colonist, the Vancouver Sun, the Globe and Mail, whatever. If you think this is outrageous, we didn't vote Liberal to have the southern resident killer whales go extinct. We did not think that was what we were voting for. That will have an impact right now because they are reconsidering.
Well, we've got to leave it there just because of time, but interesting stuff. And hey, let's keep in touch on the issue. It's interesting to hear what's changing. And like you said, I mean, we've got some species at risk right here off our coast that we know very well.
Right.
And you can kind of get a reason why people might be upset about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do let the government know what you think. Thank you.
Elizabeth May, she's the leader of the Green Party. She's local member of Parliament, of course, for Saanich Gulf Islands, and we will we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. But we'll get a break in right now because the 7 o'clock news is coming up. Lisa Best with the top stories of the day. We're giving away those passes to see the new Egypt exhibit coming to the Royal BC Museum. And in fact, into the 7 o'clock hour here, in less than half an hour, we're going to talk to a person from the Royal BC Museum, in fact, the director of exhibitions, to talk about this exhibit and what it's all about. That's all going to be very exciting. I love talking ancient Egypt. That's all next on the show.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 7 o'clock on Wednesday, June 3rd. A little light rain falling for parts of Greater Victoria. Quite warm out there as well. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. The Trump administration now proposing a 10% additional tariff on Canada and other countries following an investigation into forced labor in supply chains.
The United States Trade Representative released a report late Tuesday saying Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and some other countries should be hit with duties, alleging they aren't enforcing bans on forced labor. It also proposes a 12.5% duty on dozens of other nations. The new tariff would not apply to goods compliant under the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Agreement on Trade. The new tariff threat came just a few hours after Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc met with U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer in Washington. The forced labor investigations were started after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down President Donald Trump's favorite tariff tool earlier this year. Kelly Malone, The Canadian Press, Washington.
Parks Canada says part of a popular hiking trail in Banff National Park remains off limits almost a full year now after a deadly rock fall.
Spokesman James Eastham says an area around Bow Glacier Falls remains closed for geotechnical assessment. He says Parks Canada hasn't heard of anyone violating the closure, but those who do could be arrested or fined as much as $25,000. The affected area of the Alberta Rocky Mountains has been closed since June 19th, 2025. That's when a rock fall killed a Calgary woman and a man from BC. 5 others were also injured. Parks Canada has said nothing could have prevented or predicted the slide. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
As a record number of journalists and media workers are being killed around the world, what appears to be a growing community of exiled journalists are working for the safety of Canada to hold those in power accountable in their home countries. Walid Batra, a veteran Palestinian journalist and media consultant who lives in the Toronto region, says he writes a weekly column in Arabic for a Palestinian newspaper and is working to create a subscription-based online directory connecting exiled journalists with Canadian media outlets. He says Palestinian journalists are getting killed in Gaza and are being imprisoned and assaulted in the occupied West Bank.
Being a journalist puts you under the spot, okay? So if you're moving, if you're going to cover a demonstration, if you're, if you have a press sign on your car, you're most likely to be attacked by or stopped or harassed by Israeli soldiers and Israeli settlers.
The Committee to Protect Journalists says some 130 journalists and media workers were killed worldwide last year alone, with Israel being responsible for 2/3 of those deaths. The Israeli government has repeatedly denied killing or torturing journalists. This year's Calgary Stampede is being led by 2 Olympians. Mikhail Kingsbury and Courtney Sarow have been named parade marshals for the annual event that opens on July 3rd. Sarow, who won 4 Olympic medals this year, says she may have to undergo a different kind of training for this event.
I'm very down for new challenges and to try new things. So I've ridden a couple horses for sure in my life, being a maritimer. But I haven't gotten on one in a couple years, so I might have to make some calls next time I'm in Moncton just to get the rust off.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to be falling off the horse, especially when you're parade marshal. And Kingsbury says he's only ridden twice in his life. He's looking forward to being a cowboy for the day and being that big hat. Wearing the big hat, that is. And in health news, the head of pancreatic cancer at Toronto's Princess Margaret Cancer Centre hopes clinical trials for a pill that could double survival time will soon be open to Canadian patients. Medical oncologist Dr. Jennifer Knox reviewed the U.S.-led study of an experimental drug and called the results amazing. The randomized phase 3 clinical trial of 500 patients found those who took the pill daily survived more than a year compared to just 6 months for those who had chemotherapy alone. Studies published in the New England Journal of Medicine. And that's your news to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. Since today is Clean Air Day and BC Transit is free for the day, we're asking, how often do you hop on a bus? 6% say frequently, 22% occasionally, vast majority, 72% say never. You can vote now at cfax1070.com and also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 7:06.
Thank you, Lisa. A little light rain falling for parts of Greater Victoria, although I will say I just took a walk out onto the deck.
Okay.
The CFAX 1070
ship
observation deck, or, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. It seemed dry there.
Okay.
Didn't see any evidence of rain.
Well, scattered.
Yeah, so we're seeing some, but see that I got a text here who says they're noticing it sprinkling in Esquimalt. So we're here in Esquimalt. So some part of Esquimalt seeing rain.
Some streets are getting water?
It's just not here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little mixed all over the place. We're hearing various reports. If you're getting rain where you are, let me know. It's 7:10:10. By the way, it wasn't in the forecast, so it sort of surprised me when it started raining.
Me too.
So, what else is going on? Let's talk about sports. Let's talk about hockey, where Thomas Hertl had the goal that broke the deadlock, snapped the 4-4 deadlock, and lifted the Vegas Golden Knights to a 5-4 win over the Carolina Hurricanes in the opening game of the best-of-7 Stanley Cup Finals. Hurricanes coach Rod Brind'Amour says his team had a good start, grabbing an early 2-0 lead.
We had a pretty bad turnover to get them back in the game when there's really no reason for it. It's one thing when you're under siege. We really were under siege there, and we just kind of tossed it away, and then they made us pay on it.
Game 2 of the final goes tomorrow, again in Raleigh. So that's the hockey story. Let's go to the baseball, where the Victoria HarperCats faced off against the visiting Edmonton Riverhawks last night in the home opener for the HarperCats, and Victoria came out victorious with a decisive 6-3 victory in the first game of the season at home. The Cats are back in action against the Riverhawks at 6:35 p.m. tonight. They also play Thursday. It's a day game on Thursday, and then they'll host the Kelowna Falcons for a 3-game series over the weekend. A lot going on during that game. There's going to be the fireworks night on Saturday, and more importantly, Lisa and I will throw a first pitch on the Friday. So there you go. In Major League Baseball, Atlanta Braves defeated the visiting Toronto Blue Jays 4-3 last night. Seattle took the New York Mets 8-3. And the best-of-7 NBA Finals are getting underway in Texas as the San Antonio Spurs host the New York Knicks. That is the matchup here at the end of the season, the final round of the playoffs. That's your Sports 2 709. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Well, on the roads, nothing much to report other than the fact that we've been seeing some scattered showers, some light sprinkling of rain for parts of Greater Victoria. I don't think it's a ton of rain, but the usual advice whenever that happens is, watch out for the roads. Since we haven't seen rain in a bit, maybe some slick stuff coming out on the roads. I'm not saying that's necessarily happened. Not a lot of rain, but some scattered showers for this morning. Otherwise, crash-free. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010. Ongoing closure of the Galloping Goose Trail for our bicycle traffic news. This is just through Viaduct Park. It's just the north end of the Selkirk Trestle where that detour is now in effect, taking you all the way around Jutland. That'll be all this summer. It started this week, and it's going to be a feature for a while. For the weather forecast, the scattered showers we've been talking about that just sort of emerged this morning. We will, in theory, just have a mix of sun and cloud for the rest of the day. Highs of 22 degrees. That means, temperature-wise, we're not going to move much because it's 15 degrees officially at the airport right now, but I am seeing temperatures close to 20 degrees already. We never really cool down overnight for some areas of Greater Victoria, and we're not going to see the temperatures move that much as we get into the day. In fact, it might even feel a little cooler as some wind starts to build off the Juan de Fuca Strait a bit over the course of today. There you go. That's your CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Text me at 71010 if you have any other tips. For the business news, checking the markets, S&P TSX down 226 to 34,943 to start the day. The Dow in New York is down 267 to 51,040. The Nasdaq down 183 to 26,910. Canadian dollar at 72.1 cents US.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
I am very excited in a few minutes, Lisa, to talk to some of the folks from the Royal BC Museum about this ancient Egypt exhibit that is coming to Victoria, to the Royal BC Museum. In fact, it's opening up on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yes.
it's real soon.
Yes.
This one's called Obsessed with Life, and it explores the death rituals of ancient Egypt. So we're talking about mummies. We're talking about
the afterlife.
Yeah. And
that's really interesting. I love the title.
Yeah. Obsessed with life.
Yeah.
So, with this in mind, not only are we giving away a mega pack to go enjoy this, it's these 4 tickets to the exhibit and a $100 food gift card and IMAX passes. We're going to give that away on Friday. On the opening day of this exhibit, we're qualifying listeners all this week with trivia that we've been asking. We're going to do that again later in the show. But also, we're going to get a chance to talk to some of the folks from the museum coming up next. And I think, Lisa, you've gotten to know me enough to know that I'm a history dork. So I'm going to be pretty excited.
If you're going to latch on to anything, I would say ancient Egypt is a pretty
cool.
solid bet.
Yeah. So
there's just so much to unpack there. And if you've ever been to Egypt, there's just not enough time.
You've been, right?
Yeah, I have been, actually. And I've been inside the pyramids. And I've
so cool.
Been to the Valley of the Queens. This was before when we were allowed to do these things. And been to the museums. I've seen the sarcophagus and the death mask of King Tutankhamun is his name. It's actually 3 words. All these things. So things I didn't know before going, and things that you learned that you're just amazed by the kind of civilization it was. So, of course, I'll let the experts speak about that.
And they are coming up in just a few moments. But first, here is the news with Lisa.
The Trump administration proposing a 10% additional tariff on Canada and other countries following an investigation into what they call forced labor in supply chains. The U.S. Trade Representative releasing a report late yesterday saying Canada, Mexico, the U.K., and other countries should be hit with duties because they weren't enforcing a ban on forced labor. It also proposes a 12.5% duty on dozens of other countries. The new tariff would not apply to goods compliant under CUSMA, the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Jean-Luc LeBlanc says he had a positive meeting with his American counterpart yesterday. He said he presented specific proposals to U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer and talked about their longstanding issues Americans have raised about Canada. Of course, Jameson Greer saying nothing about this new tariff based on trade labor. LeBlanc said the trip has not been without some turbulence, though. His delegation is set on focusing on riding that out. He said this week that he's pushed for a 16-year renewal on CUSMA, that trade agreement. And the White House Correspondents' Dinner was rescheduled for July 24th. The event was disrupted in April, of course, by that assassination attempt on the U.S. president. The association has announced a new date, emphasizing enhanced safety measures. And Trump revealed on Truth Social that the dinner will be held at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. He says he's again accepted an invitation to speak and calls the rescheduling a sign of strength. That's your news to 7:15.
All right, we're going to get into ancient Egypt in just a moment. So we'll also do our traffic and weather. So if you got a crash, accident, or maybe just an observation about the rain, are you seeing rain where you are? Because we're suddenly getting this random little sprinkle around Greater Victoria. You can text us at 71010. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Okay, so what's going on out there with the rain? We've got this texter at 71010 says it's sprinkling in Colwood. We got another one saying light sprinkles by the casino, very light sprinkles by Wilkinson Road Jail. Okay, so you're catching bits of it as you went along, it seems. This texter says at 71010 says, good morning, Ryan and Lisa. No rain, and I'm close to Uptown. And then this one is, good morning, Ryan and Lisa. We are getting one of those random little sprinkles at Prospect Lake, much to the annoyance of Chunky the Death Cat, who's currently sitting under the patio umbrella glaring at the wet spots on the deck. That's from Chris. Thank you for weighing in. Yeah, we are seeing just like this light little bits of rain coming down. It's a weirdly warm start to the day. We've been at like nearly 20 degrees for parts of Greater Victoria. We didn't really cool down overnight. We're not going to heat up too much more either. It's about a high of 22 with overcast skies for the day. This little bit of rain also featuring into the morning at least. We'll keep you posted.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, I'm excited to talk about this new exhibit opening Friday at the Royal BC Museum. It's all about ancient Egypt, obsessed with life. And here on the line with us, I've got two guests involved. Michael Barnes is the director of exhibitions at the Royal BC Museum. Michael, I think I got you up there on the phone. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for having us.
Great, but also bonus guest, we have an archaeologist and Egypt specialist there at the museum, Lisa Marie Wolfe, joining us. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Oh, it's great to talk to both of you. I'm so glad you're both here. So maybe, Michael, if you don't mind, we'll get you to start. We've been talking about this exhibit this week. In fact, we're giving away a big mega pass at the end of the week to the whole thing, and we're doing some Egypt trivia throughout the week, which you guys provided to us, by the way. We got these Egypt trivia questions from the museum. So we've been talking about it, but maybe I'll let you explain it in a better way than I can. What is this exhibit that's opening Friday?
Well, the exhibition is called Ancient Egypt. It's obsessed with life, as you've already mentioned. It's coming to us from the Mosgaard Museum in Denmark. And it's a 9,000 square foot, really immersive experiential exhibition on the subject of Egypt. I'll let Lisa Marie talk a little more about the specifics of the exhibit. But, you know, this is a really excellent exhibit with a real variety of visitor experience. It's got over 150 stunning objects, lots of audiovisual experiences, hands-on opportunities. There's 3 large-scale immersive video theaters and, a separate learning track for children that's really fun and engaging. It's going to be one of our best exhibits in many years, I think.
Really? And we have had Egypt here in exhibit form a couple of times over the last couple of decades. I'm trying to remember exactly, but I know we've seen Egypt before. These ones, museum exhibits, there's all kinds of fascinating ones, but I feel like Egypt is just a special thing when it comes to town. So many people are so interested in this particular part of the world and this particular part of our history.
Yeah, you're right. It's really one of those perennially evergreen museum exhibition subjects. And we did have, our last one was in 2018, and we had over 300,000 people visit that one. So we know it really resonates with our visitors, and we thought it was time to bring it back.
Lisa, why do you think this resonates so much with people continuously? Like, it seems like whether you're talking about the 1800s and, the Victorian period and the people there obsessed with Egypt all the way to today, why does this continue to fascinate us so much?
Well, the monumental architecture is just so beautiful. We're seeing depictions of daily life. We're seeing these larger-than-life feats being performed by pharaohs on the fronts of these grand temples. It's something that just continues to attract people because it is very different than something we experience in our daily lives. We can even go as far back as the Roman conquest of Egypt. Romans were bringing things back. You can look at the frescoes of Pompeii and see Egyptian iconography in it. So this Egyptomania, as it was coined in the early 1900s, has been going on forever.
I love that even the Romans were obsessed with ancient Egypt, which was even ancient to them.
Exactly.
It's so good. Now, Lisa, I really quickly want to just introduce you a bit more because you're an Egypt specialist at the Royal BC Museum, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so I am currently doing my PhD in Nubian and Egyptian archaeology at the University of Toronto. I'm a ceramic analyst in Egypt itself, so I've been quite a few times. I usually go twice a year and work with different international missions. And so, yes, as somebody who studies it and lives it, I've been brought on by the museum to help design experiences and just really help out with the Egypt exhibit.
So, Lisa, take us there then. How many times have you been to Egypt, and what have you discovered? What's impressed you? I'm sure there's quite a bit.
So everything kind of impresses me. I've now been to Egypt for 6 different missions, and really, the things that impress me the most are the objects of daily life. So I am one of those people who's not actually as hyper fascinated by the big gold gilt tombs. I like things simple like children's toys or pottery that just your everyday people were using.
Everyday life in Egypt.
Exactly.
What sets that civilization apart?
Oh, that is an excellent question. And very subjective.
True.
Well,
but from your perspective.
From my perspective, we have, over 3,000 years of Egyptian civilization. They started out and were a long-lived civilization. They've had their ups and downs politically, economically, but they continued. So what we're seeing, they even had climate crises that happened, droughts, but what we're seeing is amazing resilience and persistence and this amazing evolution and unfolding of, a very long-lived culture.
Well, let's dial a bit more into what this exhibit will focus on. It's called Ancient Egypt, Obsessed with Life. Let's unpack that name a bit. What are we looking into, and what kind of exhibits are coming?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So this is meant to be an immersive exhibit where you essentially walk through what essentially is the journey to the afterlife. And it begins with the embalming chamber. So you're going to walk through what essentially happens to someone after they pass away. It'll go into the tomb and then into the underworld. And the underworld is a series of challenges that the deceased would have to navigate to access the judgment hall, where they would then have their heart weighed against the feather of Ma'at, who is the goddess of truth, justice, cosmic order. And if they lived a good life and they were, a good person, they could access the afterlife, also known as the Field of Reeds. In the afterlife, it was simply an idealized continuation of their life that they lived in Egypt on Earth. So we're going to experience what that looked like for people.
So there's kind of a mix of some kind of, bits of the I guess, hard evidence of the embalming process and the mummification and all that, but then moving into the spiritual stuff as well and the cultural stuff. And it sounds like an interesting blend of the two things.
It really is. And with Egypt as well, their magic and religion was so deeply imbued in daily life and in all objects. In fact, if you look at the earliest medical papyri, so they used to have doctors for all kinds of different ailments and specialists too. They were one of the first cultures in the world to have gynecology. So you look at these recipes, these medical recipes, and there's also a magical and religious element to it. So their life was very symbolic, very, very imbued with rich symbolism.
Okay, so that's the voice of Lisa Marie Wolfe, archaeologist, Egypt specialist at the Royal BC Museum. We've also got Michael Barnes on the line, director of exhibitions, talking about this new exhibit opening Friday. It's Ancient Egypt, Obsessed with Life, and I'll get you back here for a second, Michael. It opens Friday. Tell us what we need to know, and how long is it sticking around?
Yeah, you're right. It opens Friday, and it's going to be with us right up until the beginning of the new year. So the last day it's going to be open to the public will be January 3rd, 2027. So you've got plenty of opportunity to see it. Hours are going to vary according to the season, but they'll always be available on our website. But basically, it's the normal museum hours. And, it is from an exhibits point of view, Lisa Marie obviously covers this great from a scientific point of view. My bias is from an exhibit design point of view. You know, it comes from Denmark. The Danes are known for their excellent design, and come down here to experience this as a design experience as well as a knowledge experience. From the exhibits point of view, coming in and sitting in the immersive theaters and following the track of the tile that leads to young people through is really top-notch stuff.
We do have a question from one listener asking, what's a good book to read before going to this Egypt exhibit?
Good question. Over to you, Lisa Marie.
That's a really good one. So looking at kind of like a general book that covers all time frames, I like Van de Mieroop's Ancient Egypt. I also assign it when I'm TAing classes at University of Toronto, and it's one of my favorite just kind of general overview books. If you are wanting to get a little bit more in-depth, the Oxford Handbook to Egyptology will give you more insight into specific topics. So it's compiled by a number of specialists who write their own chapters, and you can see topics. I think there's something like 40 chapters in it, and you can see topics all the way from daily life, Neolithic times, so, Egypt before even civilization, and different symbolic and ritual. You can read about Egypt's interactions with their neighbors as well. So really, it depends on how in-depth you want to get.
Couple of options for you. Thanks for the text at 71010. And thank you to both of you for joining us and giving us a sense of what's coming here to Victoria, to the Royal BC Museum, opening Friday, this new Ancient Egypt exhibit. And that is Lisa Marie Wolf, archaeologist and Egypt specialist, and Michael Barnes, director of exhibitions at the museum. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And don't worry, we got another qualification to happen here for the passes to go to this thing. We will be asking some ancient Egypt trivia a little later in the show, so stay tuned for that. But right now, we got to take a break for the news.
The CFAX 1070 Summer of Rock. All right. Win a trip to Vancouver and catch a concert from the Sax Point Pub Summer of Rock lineup. Listen to CFAX from 6 till 6.
When you hear a clip from our Artist of the Week,
text ROCK to 71010 with your first name
to win that concert.
You'll fly with Helijet and stay at the Rosedale on Robson Suite Hotel. Brought to you by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt.
Stream us on the iHeartRadio app.
CFAX Victoria,
an iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hey, good morning. It is 7:32 on Wednesday, June the 3rd. Little light rain falling for parts of Greater Victoria and quite warm to start the day. Full forecast to come. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Good morning. If you're driving Prospect Lake Road this morning, watch for people on the route. Parents along that route are planning a safety walk this hour. along the winding rural Highlands route. SD 63 parent Renee Mulligan was on CFAX yesterday. She says school bus drivers recently flagged issues on the narrow road, and they thought they had a fix in place for a turnaround for the buses, but that fell through. The parents received notice that kids may need to catch the bus now at Prospect Lake Elementary, a walk of more than 20 minutes for some along that narrow road with no sidewalks. Your BC Transit is free today thanks to Wednesday being Clean Air Day. As the price of fuel rises, starting June 16th, BC Ferries, that is, plans to implement a temporary 5% fuel charge due to the hike in global fuel prices, with the Strait of Hormuz remaining closed. The temporary surcharge will apply across all BC Ferries routes, which is allowed to manage simple fluctuations in fuel costs with a 40% increase since March. If fuel stabilizes and declines for a sustained period, the surcharge will be reduced or removed, apparently. The cost of apartment rentals in Victoria continues to trend downward. You may not feel it, though, if you do rent. Rentals.ca released their monthly report saying a one-bedroom now costs an average of $1,968. That's down 3% from March. A two-bedroom averages around $2,600, a drop of almost a full percentage point. Premier David Eby highlighted how NDP policies are helping to bring down rent costs.
The fastest and most consistent decline in rents we've seen across the entire country is here in British Columbia. The average asking rents in our province, because of the interventions by our government, not just in one area, but in many areas, has driven rents down by 13% in the last 3 years.
On a year-over-year basis, a one-bedroom in Victoria has dropped 5.4%, a two-bedroom dropping 2.2%. The warmer, drier weather, even with the smattering of rain this morning, means an increased risk of wildfire here and on the mainland. The BC Wildfire Service reports a small blaze that broke out south of Coombs is now under control. It covered about 1/10 of a hectare. It's not expected to expand past its borders, but it is suspected to be human-caused, so be careful with fires. That blaze among about 17 active fires, and then 2 that are burning out of control in the province. The province is announcing an investment to plant more trees, pitching in $155 million to plant more than 125 more million trees in this province. The funding builds on the $95 million the province invests annually via the Forest Investment Program. The total number of planned trees to be planted this year alone on public lands is 239 million trees. That is your news to 7:35. Our CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. Today is Clean Air Day in BC, and your transit ride is free if you want it. We're asking, how often do you hop on a bus locally in Greater Victoria? Right now, the vast majority, over 70%, are saying never. About 25% say occasionally, and the rest saying frequent bus riders. Good for you. And that's your news to 7:37.
Thank you, Lisa. A little light rain falling for parts of Greater Victoria this morning. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, over to the sports, where the Victoria Harper Cats had their home opener last night. Some skydivers came down and everything, big festivities. And also, they got a win out of it. The visiting Edmonton Riverhawks fell to the Victoria Harbour Cats 6-3, and they will be back in action again tonight, same place, same time, 6:35. And then on Thursday, it'll be the third match for Victoria and Edmonton. That one is a day game. And then they shift over to hosting the Kelowna Falcons on Friday for a 3-game series this weekend. Lisa and I will be there on Friday throwing the first pitch. In Major League Baseball, the Atlanta Braves defeated the visiting Toronto Blue Jays 4-3. Seattle Mariners took the New York Mets 8-3. That's your baseball news. Over to the hockey. Thomas Hertl's goal at 16:36 of the third period snapped a 4-4 deadlock and lifted the visiting Vegas Golden Knights to a 5-4 win over the Carolina Hurricanes in yesterday's opening game of the best-of-7 Stanley Cup Final. And off the ice, the Victoria Royals of the WHL made a big trade yesterday, picking up offensive D-man Nate Ilawaga from the Red Deer Rebels in exchange for a 2027 fourth, 2028 second, and 2030 fourth-round pick. He was originally bound to play at the University of Maine this coming season. Best-of-7 NBA Finals tip off tonight in Texas as the San Antonio Spurs host the New York Knicks at Frost Bank Center. That's your sports to 7:39. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. No crashes, no accidents on the roads. We've actually got a fairly typical commute, other than the fact that it's a little bit of rain, a little light sprinkle falling across parts of Greater Victoria. Not everybody's getting it, but this was not in the forecast originally. But when I don't know about you, if you woke up this morning and kind of took a step outside or opened up the window, you might have noticed that it was just really warm and muggy. A lot of heavy air out there, and that seems to have resulted in a few sprinkles over Greater Victoria this morning, which kind of continue in the forecast. But we don't have rain in the forecast at all, so I'm assuming this starts to go away as we get further into the day. The temperatures don't change much, though. We're going to get to a high of 22 degrees, so a bit warmer, but we're already, for some parts of Victoria, at around 20 degrees. The official temperature is 15 at the airport, but I'm seeing in our SchoolNet weather system, a few of our readings are already 20 degrees and stayed there all night. So a warm start to the day, muggy, a little bit of showers. Seems to be what we're in for today. If you got any other traffic tips, you can text us at 71010. Over to the markets. Things are down across the board. S&P TSX in Toronto starting the day down 158 to 35,011. The Dow in New York is down 398 to 50,908. The Nasdaq down 126 to 26,967. And the Canadian dollar at 72.1 cents US, which is down a fraction of a cent from yesterday's close.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Around about this time yesterday, Lisa, we were talking about that school bus issue on Prospect Lake Road. And we had just talked to Renee Mulligan, one of the mothers in the region, upset that the school bus had been canceled, or at least as of today was supposed to be canceled, because they had deemed the road too unsafe for the school bus after there was a collision a couple of weeks back.
Right.
Parents very upset because if there's no school bus on this quote-unquote too dangerous for a school bus road, well, that means the kids are going to have to walk it. And isn't that dangerous? So that was their opinion.
Exactly.
They thought they had a solution yesterday. They thought that the folks at, what was it, Power to Be, the charity grounds there?
That's right.
They thought that they were going to be able to have the school bus go and turn around at that spot, which was safer It might make the school bus happy and all of that. But after the show yesterday, we got this notice from Renee, who we spoke to. It goes, "Hi, Lisa. Just texted. The bus is canceled starting tomorrow. Power to be is a no-go according to the district transportation department. So we are resuming our safety walk, which is on right now down Prospect Lake Road. They're doing it as we speak."
They are, and there's, from the photos I'm seeing, there's about a dozen kids and adults, even a dog involved. There is a light rain, so be aware of your traction there. The kids have signs that they've made about making their route safe. So very, very involved community in safety, and I kind of feel for them because there doesn't seem to be an easy solution when, other than just drivers slowing down and being more prudent with their route, taking a winding, narrow path. But the bus drivers, the bus company had said it's too dangerous for the turnaround. So now they're going to have to figure out a way to work around this because you just simply can't have kids walk 20 minutes down a narrow road like that. Like she said, in wintertime, they'd be doing it in the dark. So
especially with the time, the no longer time change we're doing. It's going to be very dark in the mornings heading into this winter.
So, yeah, Renee is sending photos, posting photos, and she said their walk has just begun, but they're walking for safety. And I got to feel for them in that area. You know, you live out of town because you want to keep your children safe. You want to have the rural experience. And this is all occurring because drivers just won't slow down.
Well, I wanted to give everybody the update just because when we spoke yesterday, it sounded like they were heading towards some kind of compromise solution.
Yeah.
But the update since then is that did not happen. That didn't work out, that thing they'd figured out with Power to Be. So no school bus as of today. And that walk is going down Prospect Lake Road this morning.
Currently, so you have to watch for people on the road.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll follow that story. We got many other stories to follow as well here on CFAX 1070 and a chance to give away another set of tickets to that Ancient Egypt exhibit. We just had folks from the museum on a few moments ago.
Very cool.
By the way, if you missed it, you can catch any of the repeats of what we did here by going to our podcast, Ryan and Lisa the Podcast, and any podcast service, or you can now go to YouTube and watch video clips of the show on YouTube. That's up there as well. But anyways, the Ancient Egypt chat was fascinating. They got this exhibit starting Friday and another chance to qualify for the mega pack of tickets, food gift card, and IMAX passes just after the 8 o'clock news, sports, and weather. That's when that's going to happen today. So stay tuned for that. And your chance to qualify as long as you can answer a skill testing question about Ancient Egypt. Now for the headlines, here's Lisa.
If the federal NDP get their way, potential floor crossers will have a tough time switching parties in the future. NDP Parliamentary Leader Don Davies introducing a bill yesterday that, if passed, would require floor crossers in the House of Commons to first face voters. The bill says no MP would be permitted to cross the floor without first sitting as an independent and then contesting and winning a seat under the new party banner. Davies says Prime Minister Mark Carney's move in recent months to secure a majority government through floor crossings was undemocratic. It's going to be a very busy summer, 10-day stretch for the Victoria Symphony Orchestra musicians. The orchestra is bringing its annual Symphony in the Summer festival back on July 30th. That's when it starts. And that includes a new free family event on August 2nd at the Bauman Center. It has a second free event planned in conjunction with the David Foster Foundation. That'll be a big extravaganza in the Inner Harbour on August 8th. And the schedule includes a pair of concerts at Christchurch Cathedral, one at Butchart Gardens, and another up island in Qualicum Beach. And the NHL could face a scheduling headache when BC moves to permanent daylight saving time this fall, and Alberta follows suit. Once clocks fall back on November 1st across much of the country, the time difference with BC and Alberta will shrink by an hour. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman says the league will deal with the change, though it could affect start times in Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Experts say the change could disrupt traditional hockey doubleheaders and force adjustments to TV schedules. That shift will likely mean later nights for Alberta hockey fans and BC too, with a lot of games starting around 9:30, ending after midnight. That's your news to 747.
Thank you, Lisa. Texter at 71010 says, how's a bunch of kids walking on the road not more dangerous than a bus having to turn around?
They're making a point.
This is ridiculous. Texter, that is exactly the whole issue here. That is really the crux of it, and why there are a bunch of parents and kids doing this march along Prospect Lake Road this morning after the bus route was canceled there for that very reason. So we'll follow that and let you know how it goes. But new topic coming up. A new report from the Business Council of BC suggests this province is seeing the worst youth employment decline, with youth participation in the labor market falling by more than 51,000 workers since the start of 2019. It's something the BC Conservatives are seizing on and are talking about. So we're going to get opposition jobs critic Gavin Dew on the line with us to talk about it in just a moment. Stand by.
The Royal BC Museum presents Ancient Egypt, Obsessed with Life, an immersive exhibition exploring ancient Egyptian rituals, beliefs, and artistry. And CFAX wants to send you. Listen to Mornings with Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070 for your chance to play Ancient Egypt trivia. You could win 4 tickets to the exhibition, 4 tickets to IMAX, plus a dining card. Ancient Egypt, Obsessed with Life, open soon at the Royal BC Museum. More info at cfax1070.com.
CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Happy is deals and rewards in one app. Earn Scene Plus points faster by downloading the Thrifty Foods app and linking your Scene Plus card for personalized offers just for you. Traffic and weather, it continues to be fairly typical on the roads when it comes to the commute. No crashes, no accidents, regular kind of volume delays out of the West Shore into downtown Victoria. The unusual thing is the fact that we've been seeing some sprinkles of rain, and we haven't seen rain in a while, so just watch out in case that causes any oily, slick patches on the roads. But we're not necessarily seeing that. The rain that is falling has been very light. It wasn't even in the forecast. It just showed up. The forecast still not calling for rain, even though it's happening. So we'll see if it adjusts or if we just move into a mainly cloudy day for the rest of the day with a few sunny breaks and a high of 22, which is in the forecast. But now with this little bit of sprinkling rain for Greater Victoria this morning. The longer range forecast calling for a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, highs of 18. Showers for Friday, highs of 16. Mix of sun and cloud on Saturday, Sunday, with a chance of showers mixed into there as well. Right now, the temperature's very warm to start the day. Like 4 in the morning, it was 20 degrees for parts of Victoria, so we didn't really cool off much overnight, and that's kind of the situation still right now.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
All right, let's talk youth employment numbers, because apparently we're seeing a huge decline, according to the Business Council of BC. They say that youth participation in the labor market fell by more than 51,000 workers since the start of 2019. So from 2019 to now, there's a bunch of workers that just aren't there anymore. What's going on here? This is something the opposition in the BC legislature are talking about. Jobs critic Gavin Dew is on the line with us for his take. How you doing today, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So what's the deal? What's going on with the youth job market right now?
Well, we're facing a generational crisis of youth unemployment that has been made worse by a bunch of, frankly, bad government policies over the last decade that have really hampered our private sector economy, created a public safety crisis that has crushed our storefront businesses and made us a very difficult province in which to start and grow a business. Now we're seeing the chickens come home on this, and the numbers are absolutely brutal.
And those numbers that we looked at there, that 51,000 workers kind of youth jobs that would have been there, say, 6-7 years ago, just don't seem to be there anymore. Talk more about the numbers we're seeing.
Yeah, I think it's really important to break out the dynamics. There's a lot of different things that are changing at once. So obviously, with the growth of AI in the job market over the last couple of years, we're seeing those entry-level white-collar jobs be transformed. But we're also seeing real softness in areas like retail, accommodation, and food services, where there's been a really significant pullback, about a 26% decrease in accommodation and food services, a 10% decrease in retail. Those are traditionally areas where young people get that first job. For me, it was mopping floors and stocking shelves at a pet store. You get that job in a quick serve restaurant. You get that job where you learn how to have a job. You learn how to work. And if you don't get onto the ladder with that first job, there can be a real long-term scarring effect, as the economists call it, where you just are not getting settled into the labor market. What worries me in particular is that this public safety crisis we've seen over the last number of years has just shattered business confidence and significantly reduced hiring in all of those storefront small businesses that used to be the traditional starting place for a lot of young people.
Is another factor, because I hear about this sometimes, I don't know if it's true or not, but a lot of blame tends to get put on the temporary foreign worker program as well, taking jobs that might have been those traditional first, say, fast food jobs for youth. Is that a factor? Is that actually playing out? Oh, you broke up a bit there. Sorry, start that again. You broke up a bit there.
That has definitely been a factor, and there have been abuses of the temporary foreign worker system, but that alone is not the only cause. What we've also seen is that we now have the highest minimum wage and among the highest payroll costs of any province. So that has disincentivized companies from hiring new workers, from hiring young people. It's incentivized them to bring in your automated checkouts and other things where, again, what the economists call that is labor capital switching. So instead of hiring young people and giving them that first opportunity, the rising cost of employing people has basically led to businesses hiring less people. So it's very challenging. There's a lot of different factors at play here, but what it amounts to is a real loss of opportunity for young people who are actually just sitting outside the labor market, not getting that first job, not beginning their process of moving up the ladder in the labor market, or choosing to go to another province or another jurisdiction entirely in pursuit of opportunity.
And of course, you were mentioning the minimum wage. That was in the news this week because on Monday we saw that increase. BC's minimum wage now $18.25 an hour, up from $17.85. So that happened this week in the news, and maybe factoring in here now. What should we do about this? So if I give you the magic wand, you can make the policy here. You can change things in BC. What do you think could be done to make this better?
So we have to recognize that on the one hand, there are incremental policy changes we can make. And on the other hand, there's the big picture cultural and confidence piece. On the policy changes, for example, BC is one of the only provinces in Canada that doesn't have an incentive for hiring young people. We have among the highest costs of doing business. We just hammered small business with this PSP expansion that's going to hit every single small business in the province on their bookkeeping, their accounting, their security services, all those things. So we need to stop making it worse with incremental policies that squeeze small businesses. And on the other hand, we have to rebuild confidence. We've had among the lowest small business confidence in Canada for the last number of years running. We have lost confidence in the stability of land title in this province. And we have created conditions where people just don't feel like this is a place where they can start a business, grow a business, and get ahead. So we need a dramatic change in the culture and in the confidence that will lead to people creating jobs here. And we need to recognize that the death by 1,000 cuts brought on by government is killing our small businesses, and we need to stop making it worse and start making it better.
There's a take on youth employment in BC from Gavin Dew. He's the MLA for Kelowna Mission, also the critic for jobs with the BC Conservatives. Thank you so much for weighing in today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break. We've got the 8 o'clock news coming up. After all of that, the news, sports, traffic, weather, all that, we will be qualifying another lucky listener for the big Mega Pack prize to go see the Ancient Egypt Obsessed with Life exhibit opening this Friday at the Royal BC Museum. But you got to answer a skill testing Egypt question. That's coming up. Another texter at 71010 just says, "Good morning. Have you played the AC/DC song yet? As part of the CFAX Summer of Rock?" Well, no, we have not. So there's still a chance to listen for an AC/DC song and text the word rock to 71010 to qualify for that prize. The CFAX Summer of Rock, powered by the Sax Point Pub at Esquimalt. It's all coming up.
CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock on Wednesday, June 3rd. A few sprinkles of rain falling across Greater Victoria and a very warm, muggy start to the day. A full forecast ahead. But first, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Good morning. The Trump administration now proposing more tariffs on dozens of major trading partners, and that includes us.
The report released early today by U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer says Canada, Mexico, Taiwan, and the United Kingdom would face 10% tariffs for allegedly failing to enforce a forced labor import ban. Greer claimed failure to prevent such imports burdens or restricts U.S. commerce. An additional levy of 12.5% would be imposed on other countries, including China, India, Japan, South Korea, Brazil, and Switzerland. The new tariffs are subject to public comment and review. The strategy would enable U.S. President Donald Trump to skirt Supreme Court-imposed limits on his tariffs. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
Prime Minister Mark Carney brushing off the U.S. president's latest 51st state taunt, as Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre calls it ridiculous.
The president is an exceptionally active user of social media, and we're not going to respond or react to everything that he posts.
We have to make sure that we don't allow ridiculous comments like that to distract us from the very real suffering that Canadians are experiencing.
If you didn't see it, Trump posted social media on Monday, posting 51st state connected with an article about Canada slipping into a technical recession. NDP parliamentary leader Don Davies has introduced a private member's bill that would compel floor crossers to face their voters first before they switch parties.
The bill says no MP would be permitted to cross the floor without first sitting as an independent and then contesting and winning a seat under the new party banner. Davies says Prime Minister Mark Carney's move to secure a majority government through floor crossings is undemocratic.
It's elementary that in a democracy, elections are the foundational opportunity for voters to express their democratic choice.
Davies says while he's not optimistic about the Liberal government passing his bill, he hopes parliamentarians come together to help restore faith in the system. Lisa Laporte, The Canadian Press.
Premier David Eby says his priority remains working with the federal government to advance BC projects. The Premier was asked yesterday about his reaction to last week's report of potential pipeline routes being considered between Alberta and our coast.
Well, I mean, this is the first suggestion I'm seeing of potential routes. The province of Alberta, the federal government, and the taxpayer-funded company that runs the Trans Mountain Pipeline have been doing this work. British Columbia has not been at the table. I won't speculate about whether or not these are actually the routes. I don't know.
A BC nonprofit that supports people with spinal injuries was forced to cancel a raffle for a pair of World Cup tickets after FIFA called foul. Lawyers for soccer's governing body accused the nonprofit of trademark infringement and ticket rule violations. Spinal cord injury BC Executive Director Chris McBride says they raffled off tickets for the June 21st game in Vancouver. It was meant to be a fundraiser.
We were a little surprised, but we understood that we were in violation of their policies. I mean, there's no real complaint there from us. We're just disappointed that this small little enterprise was being the opportunity was being denied to us.
They raised about $2,600 before they received a 9-page letter from FIFA. The statement from FIFA says tickets can't be used for any advertising, promotional, or competition purposes, including raffles, without prior written consent. Tim Hortons apparently cutting up its credit card program.
The company telling customers in an email that the program will shut down October 1st. It says while cards will still work after that date, they'll be managed by Neo Financial. Transactions also won't earn Tim's rewards points. Tim's launched the credit card program in June 2023 to appeal to Canadians seeking better and accessible financial products. But it wasn't the coffee and donut chain's first foray into the money game. It partnered with CIBC in 2014 on a similar card that was discontinued 5 years later. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
And that is your CFAX News to 8:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning, since today is Clean Air Day and BC Transit is free today. We're asking, how often do you ride the bus? Frequently, 6%. About a quarter say occasionally, and 70%, the majority, say never. You can vote at cfax1070.com, also the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best news time is 8:06.
Lisa, a lot of folks weighing in at 7:10 after our conversation about youth employment. Apparently, it's a struggle out there for young folks to find jobs and get into the labor market for various reasons. We were talking about that earlier, and some numbers are showing that there's just not as many young people working in the labor market. This texter at 71010 says, as a hiring manager for a major retailer in the city, hiring youth is very difficult, and not because of the things our guest was saying. Many youth don't want to work, says the texter. They don't want to work Friday evenings, weekends. They tell us they won't come in if called because they'll be with friends. We want to hire them, but it's difficult. So that's one text. This texter at 71010 says, my son, 18, has been trying to get his first job for years. Fortunately, he has some post-secondary plans that should set him up for life, but just can't pull that trigger on an entry-level position.
Interesting. And there's one more that says youth need to expect to be paid less because they're being trained in life skills.
Yeah,
So
maybe
back and forth.
And that goes back to that minimum wage conversation. With it going up on Monday, we just saw the minimum wage in BC go up to $18.25 an hour, up from $17.85.
So 40 cents.
Yeah, so some folks wondering if, that's just a barrier as well to being able to hire youth. Lots of different opinions coming in here at 71010. Thanks so much for telling us what you think. And I'm going to tell you about the sports right now. And we've got Thomas Hertel, who did the goal that broke the deadlock at 4-4 yesterday with 3:24 left in the third period, and that lifted the Vegas Golden Knights past the Carolina Hurricanes 5-4 in the opener of the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas coach John Tortorella says the defense was hit or miss for both teams in that one.
You just never know what's going to happen, and I've said it all through the playoffs. It's a find-a-way league. We found a way tonight.
Game 2 of the Best of 7 series goes tomorrow, again in Raleigh. And the Victoria Harbour Cats, they had their home opener at Royal Athletic Park, Wilson's Group Stadium last night, and they managed to make it a win over the visiting Edmonton Riverhawks, claiming a decisive 6-3 victory in that first home game. Cats back in action against Edmonton tonight, 6:35 again, and then Thursday, which is a day game, and then for Friday, the Kelowna Falcons are in town, and they're going to kick off a 3-game series against the Harbour Cats again at home at Royal Athletic Park. And Lisa and I are going to be there Friday throwing that first pitch. In the majors, Atlanta Braves defeated the visiting Toronto Blue Jays 4-3. Seattle took the New York Mets 8-3. And for the NBA Finals, they're tipping off tonight. It's Texas versus the San Antonio Spurs. Texas. The San Antonio Spurs hosting the New York Knicks at Frostbank Center. That's what I meant to say. It is 8:09, and we are about to take a break, get our traffic and weather updated, and then we're going to play some ancient Egypt trivia. I want to ask you a question provided to me by the Royal BC Museum, and if you get it right, you will be qualified for the big draw on Friday to this ancient Egypt exhibit prize pack. Obsessed with Life is the name of it. It opens Friday at the Royal BC Museum. I've got 4 passes, 4 IMAX passes, a $100 food card as well. This is a great night out. So we're opening up the phone lines now. Give me a call. I'm going to pick a random caller, ask you that skill testing question. If you get it right, you'll be entered into the draw. If you get it wrong, we're moving on to the next person. Do you think you can do it? The phone lines are open, 250-386-1161.
Want a junk-free summer? CFAX 1070 has got your back. Enter online for your chance to win a complete summer cleaning service from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Greater Victoria's trusted professional junk removal team. Enter to win today at CFAX1070.com.
It is 8:11 on this Wednesday morning. It's been a little wet. We've seen a few sprinkles. Not like heavy rain, but just a bit of a sprinkly kind of morning. And we've been seeing very warm temperatures. It never really cooled off last night for much of Greater Victoria. Some areas in the middle of the night were at 20 degrees, and we're going to not warm up too much more than that over the course of the day. Maybe a high of 22. inland. Cooler by the water, though, and a bit of breeze picking up off the Juan de Fuca Strait, so it might even feel cooler as we get further into this day compared to the middle of the night. Yeah, weird, warm mugginess, a bit of shower activity out there. We do expect a mainly cloudy day today, with a mix of sun and cloud for tomorrow, highs of 18. Showers for Friday, highs of 16. And a mix of sun and cloud for Saturday, Sunday, but also a chance of showers through the weekend as well. So kind of all over the place, a little unsettled, but some sunny patches, some wet patches potentially over the weekend. Now, for the roads, there's not much going on. It's a pretty typical commute. I'm not seeing any crashes, accidents. Volume delays have been pretty normal out of the West Shore. So if you see otherwise, text me at 71010, but otherwise, not much to see here. For BC Ferries, we do have a one sail wait. 9 o'clock sailing is full. 10 o'clock is your next available vessel from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen with available vehicle deck space. On the markets, S&P TSX down 81 points to 35,087. The Dow is down 367 to 50,940. The Nasdaq is down 149 to 26,944. Canadian dollar at 72 cents US even, which is down a little bit from yesterday's close.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
It's time for Ancient Egypt trivia here on CFAX 1070. Do you know your stuff when it comes to the ancient Egyptians? Let's go to the phone lines for our first contestant. Who's this?
Linda.
Linda, hello. Are you a big Egyptologist kind of person? Are you big into this?
Just average, I would, like other people about what they know.
I'm with you, Linda. I'm average too.
Well, Linda, here's the deal. The Royal BC Museum has given us these Egypt questions, and we're going to ask you one right now. If you get it right, you will be qualified for the draw on Friday to go see this exhibit coming to the Royal BC Museum. It also happens to open on Friday. And it's much more than that. It's food, it's a gift card for food, it's IMAX passes, it's a whole big night out. It's going to be great. But you got to answer this question first. Are you ready, Linda?
I hope so.
Okay.
Be strong.
What were ancient Egyptian rulers called?
Pharaohs.
Hey! That's it.
Yay.
There you go. That wasn't so bad, Linda.
Yeah, thank you.
She was expecting something more serious than that.
I know, yeah. I keep expecting it as well, but the folks at the Royal BC Museum we're learning are very nice. They're very kind, and they have not asked the hardest questions. Linda, this is wonderful. Now, you're entered into the draw, so wait for Friday. We'll pick a name then out of everybody who's qualified this week, so stand by for your opportunity there. But hold on the line right now. I'll just talk to you off air, okay? All right, we're going to get this again tomorrow. Another chance to qualify, another chance to test your Egypt knowledge. Right now at 8:15, here are the headlines with Lisa.
There's a Ford recall you might want to know about. It's happening stateside, but we know how these things trickle across the border. 420,000 vehicles involved. It's due to seatbelt issues. It's Ford Expedition and Lincoln Navigator vehicles with the model years 2018 through 2022. The National Highway Traffic Administration in the U.S. says the issue involves seatbelts they may lock inadvertently, not allowing them to retract or extend. That's a problem if there's a collision. Warmer, drier weather means an increase of wildfire risk on Vancouver Island. We have had a small fire breakout. It's a new blaze just south of Coombs. It's now considered under control. It covered 1/10 of a hectare and isn't expected to torch any land further than that. It's suspected to be human-caused, though, so be careful with your fires hazards. The blaze is among 17 active wildfires. 2 are burning out of control in BC currently. Well, it was coming sooner or later, and now it's happening June 16th. That's a Friday, so you might want to book your plans earlier. BC Ferries plans to implement a temporary 5% fuel surcharge starting that day in response to sustained increases in global fuel prices with the Strait of Hormuz spat going on. The temporary surcharge will apply to all BC Ferries routes. Fuel is one of BC Ferries' most volatile operating costs. Since March, global fuel prices have increased more than 40%, driven by the conflict in the Middle East. If prices stabilize or decline for a sustained period of time, that surcharge is expected to be reduced or removed. And a pair of Olympians have been chosen to lead this year's Calgary Stampede as parade marshals. Olympic medalist short track speed skater Courtney Saroux, who snagged 4 medals, and mogul skier Michael Kingsbury, who was golden on the hill, will share duties and lead the parade downtown Calgary on July 3rd. Kingsbury says he is thrilled, but he isn't much of a horseman, so he may have to do some training on 4 legs. He hasn't only ridden a few times, but he does intend to be a cowboy for the day. Saroux says she plans to also strengthen her riding skills, and she's very excited to be wearing boots and a hat. The Calgary Stampede runs July 3rd through the 12th. That's your news to 8:17.
Thank you, Lisa. In the news, BC Ferries adding a 5% fuel surcharge to sailings effective mid-June, June 16th to be precise, which is all part of the rising cost of fuel, the global energy crisis that we're dealing with. This is how it's going to play out at BC Ferries. We're going to learn more about this to figure out how it's all coming about, what it's going to mean for us as, islanders and ferry users. CTV Vancouver journalist covering the story will be our next guest right after traffic and weather. See a problem out there? Or maybe you got some rain falling where you are? Let us know at 71010. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. Need a cab? Download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. They're proudly local and Canadian-owned and run since 1946. On the roads, no crashes, no accidents at this time. We are looking at a pretty typical commute, other than the fact that some sprinkles of rain have been falling across parts of Greater Victoria for the last couple of hours. We might see some of that continue. We've got this really warm, muggy, kind of heavy air out there still, and that's sort of the picture for the day. Otherwise, just mainly cloudy with a high of 22 degrees, which is not very far off of where we are already. We didn't cool off too much overnight. Parts of Victoria were at about 20 degrees all night long, and we're just going to warm up to maybe 22, so we don't move too much. In fact, we could even feel cooler with some wind starting to blow off the Wandafuka Strait as the day goes on. So that's the picture for today. And like I said, the roads are looking pretty typical. We do have a 1 sail wait at BC Ferries. 9 o'clock sailing is full. The 10 o'clock is your next available vessel from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen. Speaking of BC Ferries, a fuel surcharge incoming there. Let's learn more about that.
Let's get started.
Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, reaching out now to CTV Vancouver journalist James Parisi, who's going to talk more about this BC Ferries news. How's it going, sir?
Doing fantastic. Thank you guys for having me.
Now, you're new to CTV Vancouver. I think I might have got your last name right. How do you say your last name?
Oh, you were right on the money.
Parisi.
Right on the money.
Okay, got it. Just making sure. Nice to meet you, by the way. Great to talk to you. Great. Welcome to the CTV family.
Yeah, great chatting with you as well. I'm looking forward to being here.
So one of the first stories you got to cover with CTV Vancouver, of course, is this BC Ferries story. So adding a 5% fuel surcharge to sailings effective June 16th. I guess this is probably no surprise given the way fuel costs have been going, given the fact that airlines have been doing this. Was this just a matter of time before BC Ferries hit that?
Definitely. I mean, we're all thinking about it. We're paying more at the pump to put gas in our vehicles, and BC Ferries is following suit here. They really cited issues in the Middle East, concerns about the Strait of Hormuz. But one of the big things that they mentioned, especially in the second half of their news release, that caught me when I was writing about it, was they said, hey, we've been dealing with this ourselves for a while. We've been using a fuel deferral account. Now we're putting this on you guys.
So they've been trying to hold off, that they couldn't any longer?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Is it just as simple as come June 16th, when you buy a ferry ticket, it's just going to be you pay a little more? Is that as simple as that?
Yeah, I did the math. I'm from Vancouver Island myself, and I live in Vancouver, so lots of trips on BC Ferries taken yearly. And say you have two adults in a vehicle. It's typically $132 going back and forth from Nanaimo or Victoria to Vancouver. That you'll end up paying a little bit over $138 with that 5% surcharge.
Okay. And is this a surcharge that goes away once fuel prices come down, or what are the chances of this thing going away, or is this here to stay?
Yeah, that's one that they really didn't specify early on as well, but we talked to a communications advisor named Shireen Siani with BC Ferries, and she called the move a temporary measure. In the release, it does explain that if fuel prices stabilize or decline for a sustained period, that surcharge will be removed or reduced. I think that keyword in there is reduced. I'm not going to make any predictions here, but I don't think they throw in that word by accident.
And I guess it really depends on what fuel prices do as well. So that's another factor to watch. Now, another thing is, this fuel surcharge comes in June 16th, but you can reserve ferry trips ahead, book ahead. So that's something we all know here if you're a regular ferry user. What happens if you've already booked ahead past this fuel surcharge? Can they retroactively put this on you?
I'm glad you've asked that one for sure, because especially when you consider Horseshoe Bay Departure Bay is reservation only. So people are booking way ahead. If you have booked ahead, no issues whatsoever if you've paid in full. Now, if you've just paid for the reservation and you have a remaining balance, you'll have to pay that surcharge on the remaining balance. And one more little nugget there is that if you've fully paid in advance, but if you go in and change your booking, you'll have to pay that 5% surcharge on the change.
Okay, so that's a good tip. If you change your booking, then they'll ding you. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I did check yesterday when booking ahead. I checked for the 16th, I checked for the 18th, and I checked for the 20th. I haven't seen a change in price just yet.
Okay. How's this going over? Have you had a chance to talk to anybody about the reaction to this?
Yeah, a couple people. I mean, luckily, knowing so many people from the island, it's typical unrest, right? Nobody likes to spend more money, and it's a fairly expensive trip already. I mean, $132 for one way for two adults in a vehicle. That's not really just a small pile of pocket change. So it's not the happiest reaction so far.
Yeah, well, BC Ferries adding that fuel surcharge to sailings effective June 16th. If you got a booking ahead already, it shouldn't come into effect unless you make a change. This is all good information as we put it all together with James Parisi. He is a CTV Vancouver journalist working on the story. And anything else, Dad? Anything we missed about this that we should know?
Book ahead, and continue to book ahead.
Book ahead now before June 16th happens. Love it. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
Hey, cheers. Much appreciated. And if you want to find out more, you can follow the story on CTV Vancouver there where you'll get his work. Hey, I want to go back to the text inbox because we've had a ton of reaction to a story we covered a little earlier in the show, and that was to do with youth employment, young people having trouble getting into the workforce. And there's some numbers out showing that there's actually like 50,000 fewer young people in the workforce now compared to just, say, 7 years ago. That was the stat that was thrown out there. And we're talking to the opposition Conservatives about their complaints about this. Here's some more reaction from you, though. Texter says, I work at a major retailer with a lot of young people. It seems that most just don't want to work. They don't show up most of the time. They definitely don't want to work weekends or evenings. They don't put in the effort. Another texter at 71010 says, the last time I went to hire somebody at my shop, I got a grand total of 0 applications at $30 an hour for quite easy work. At $35 an hour, I got 6 applicants, only 2 of which actually showed up for their scheduled interview. The one that I hired worked for close to 6 months before wanting to become a traffic flagger so he could get more cigarette breaks. Oh,
So some people have some very bad experiences. And on the other side, you're hearing about, entrepreneurial teens who are opening, their own business if they can't get a job. Or, I think it's part of it is how you grow your kids. The reality is you're not going to make a lot of money. And the reality through your life is maybe there's secondary jobs you take on that you're not going to make a lot of money. But are you learning something? Are you enjoying yourself? Is it a good experience? All these things factor in too, because most kids at that age are still living at home.
I like this text, though. My son at age 15 could not find a job, so he started his own pressure washing business and is earning... Plus, he's learned a plethora of life skills because of this. Side hustle for the win. That's another factor, though. A lot of, gig work, that sort of side hustle world is much bigger of a thing now than it might have been before.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Especially in this climate, because it costs a lot to live in Greater Victoria. I mean, we all know BC is synonymous with bring cash. So, and nothing's changed in that department. We just heard from our CTV reporter about the price of traveling on BC ferries going up. Everything is going up in price. And is your paycheck rising the same? No. So you have to get inventive. Side hustles are an answer for a lot of people. And if a child is living at home or a teen's living at home and they're not having to make that wage to live, basically for their food and their rent, then that supplemental money can go a long way to, if they can sock it away for schooling and whatnot.
It's 8:28, 8:30 News with Lisa coming up next.
The Royal BC Museum presents Ancient Egypt, Obsessed with Life, an immersive exhibition exploring ancient Egyptian rituals, beliefs, and artistry. And CFAX wants to send you. Listen to Mornings with Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070 for your chance to play Ancient Egypt Trivia. You could win 4 tickets to the exhibition, 4 tickets to IMAX, plus a dining card. Ancient Egypt, Obsessed with Life, open soon at the Royal BC Museum. More info at cfax1070.com.
CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 8:31 on Wednesday, June the 3rd. A little damp for some parts of Victoria with a few sprinkles coming down this morning. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, news begins. Here is Lisa Bass.
Parents, children, and even dogs took to Prospect Lake Road last hour, holding a safety walk along the winding rural Highlands route. ST63 parent Renee Mulligan was on CFAX yesterday explaining that the parents in the area received notice that school bus drivers recently flagged safety issues on the narrow road for driving and turning around. And as a result, the kids may need to catch the bus at Prospect Lake Elementary. Now, they thought they had a fix in place for the rest of the school year, but that fell through yesterday. This walk for kids could take up to 20 minutes on a narrow, winding road where a lot of vehicles, unfortunately, are speeding. And there's no sidewalks, so the parents want something more done about safety on the route for school buses and, of course, the children that ride them. The Trump administration is proposing a 10% additional tariff on Canada and other countries following an investigation into forced labor in supply chains.
The United States Trade Representative released a report late Tuesday saying Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and some other countries should be hit with duties, alleging they aren't enforcing bans on forced labor. It also proposes a 12.5% duty on dozens of other nations. The new tariff would not apply to goods compliant under the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Agreement on Trade. The new tariff threat came just a few hours after Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc met with U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer in Washington. The forced labor investigations were started after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down President Donald Trump's favorite tariff tool earlier this year. Kelly Malone, The Canadian Press, Washington.
Parks Canada says a popular hiking trail in Banff National Park remains off limits almost a full year after a deadly rockfall.
Spokesman James Eastham says an area around Bow Glacier Falls remains closed for geotechnical assessment. He says Parks Canada hasn't heard of anyone violating the closure, but those who do could be arrested or fined as much as $25,000. The affected area of the Alberta Rocky Mountains has been closed since June 19, 2025. That's when a rockfall killed a Calgary woman and a man from BC. 5 others were also injured. Parks Canada has said nothing could have prevented or predicted the slide. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
In health news, a Canadian pancreatic cancer specialist is hoping to open clinical trials soon for patients for an experimental drug that could actually double survival time.
Medical oncologist Dr. Jennifer Knox at Toronto's Princess Margaret Cancer Centre independently reviewed a U.S.-led study of the daily pill daraxonrasib and calls the results amazing. The Phase 3 clinical trial of 500 pancreatic cancer patients found those who took the pill survived for over a year, twice as long as those who had chemotherapy alone. Revolution Medicines has applied to the U.S. FDA to license the drug, but Health Canada says it has not received a similar application at this point. Knox plans to open clinical trials, though, so as many patients as possible can get the experimental drug without waiting for it to be licensed. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
Well, first it was hantavirus, now apparently hackers. ABC's Jim Ryan says tens of millions of passengers who enjoy cruises have another concern on deck.
According to Carnival Corporation, criminals tricked an employee into giving up access to the company's IT system, exposing the names, addresses, phone numbers, and other personal data on as many as 6 million customers. Carnival has begun reaching out to those who might have been affected, urging them to closely watch their bank and credit card statements and offering 2 years of free credit monitoring.
We'll keep you posted on where that goes. And this year's Calgary Stampede Parade being led by 2 Olympians. Michael Kingsbury and Courtney Saroux have been named parade marshals for the annual event that opens Friday, July 3rd. Saroux snagged 4 Olympic medals this year. She says, though, she may have to undergo different training to get on a horse.
I'm very down for new challenges and to try new things. So I've ridden a couple horses for sure in my life, being a maritimer, but I haven't gotten on one in a couple years, so I might have to make some calls next time I'm in Moncton just to get the rust off.
Kingsbury also admitting he's only ridden a couple times in his life, but he's looking very much forward to being cowboy for a day. That's your news to 8:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking you, since Wednesday, today is Clean Air Day, and BC Transit is free for the day, how often do you take the bus? 6% say frequently, 22% occasionally, 72% vast majority, never. You can vote now at cfax1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 8:37.
Thank you, Lisa. A few scattered showers still around Greater Victoria. If you got them still falling where you are, let us know at 7:10:10. But we should just be facing, other than that, a mostly cloudy day. Temperatures up to 22 degrees. It's already around 20 degrees for a lot of Greater Victoria. In fact, it's been that way all night. Didn't really cool off overnight. Weird, muggy kind of non-coastal day. This feels like prairie weather or something. This isn't...
It's too warm for you? Never say
No, it's just the not cooling off overnight with the hot, muggy air.
Well, seems a little soon for it.
Yeah.
We've got January coming,
yeah,
starting
that's this
Thursday,
weekend.
and
Yeah.
that'll take care of things.
There you go. We'll get you full forecast in a moment. Right now, let's talk CFAX 1070 Sports, where the Vegas Golden Knights had a 5-4 win over the Carolina Hurricanes to open up the best-of-7 Stanley Cup final. And Hurricanes coach Rod Brind'Amour said his team had a good start, grabbed a 2-0 lead to begin with.
We had a pretty bad turnover to get them back in the game when there's really no reason for it. It's one thing when you're under siege. We really were under siege there, and we just kind of tossed it away, and then they made us pay on it.
Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final goes tomorrow again in Raleigh. Locally, Victoria Harbour Cats were in action last night as they started their season at home. They had the first couple of games on the road on the weekend against Portland, but their first home game was last night against the Edmonton Riverhawks, and Victoria with the win, a decisive 6-3 victory in their first home game of the season. Cats back in action tonight against the Riverhawks, same team at 6:35, and then tomorrow the third game for those two teams, and then it's going to switch, and the Kelowna Falcons will be in town to play Victoria for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lisa and I will be there on Friday, throwing the first pitch. The Atlanta Braves defeated the visiting Toronto Blue Jays 4-3, and the Seattle Mariners down to the New York Mets 8-3 yesterday in other baseball action. And the NBA Finals will tip off tonight in Texas as the San Antonio Spurs host the New York Knicks at Frost Bank Center. And that's your sports to 8:39. CFAX at 70 traffic and weather. The time in Victoria is 8:40. We've seen the odd shower come down across Greater Victoria this morning. We're looking at a mainly cloudy day for the rest of the day. Temperatures up to 22 degrees. It is already about 20 degrees for a lot of Victoria, give or take a couple. We might even see things cool off a little bit as the day goes on because the wind's going to start blowing off the Wantafuka Strait, which will make it feel cooler if you're by the water. Partly cloudy tonight, still windy, lows to 11. We'll see a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, highs of 18. Showers for Friday, mix of sun and cloud with a chance of showers for Saturday and Sunday. And by Friday on the weekend, temperatures will be a bit cooler, down to the mid-teens as a high rather than this very warm, muggy condition we have right now in Victoria. On the roads, no major crashes, accidents, or problems except for this one sail wait at BC Ferries. 9 o'clock sailing is full. The 10 o'clock sailing is your next available vessel with vehicle deck space left. On the markets in Toronto, S&P TSX down 132 points at this hour to 35,036. The Dow in New York also down 393 points, down to 50,913. NASDAQ has dropped 194 to 26,899, and the Canadian dollar at 72 cents even versus the U.S. dollar, and that's down just a fraction of a cent from the close yesterday.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
That sure sounds like this week's artist for the CFAX Summer of Rock. Yeah, AC/DC, this week's artist. When you hear a song by AC/DC, like you just did a second ago, you can text us the word rock to be entered into the big draw, which will happen on Monday. We will send you not just to the show in August in Vancouver. We got accommodation at the Rosedale on Robson Suite Hotel. We got flights from Helijet. It's all covered. And we actually heard from our Black Keys winner recently. They sent us some pictures of the helicopter ride.
Very cool.
It
You
was
look
cool.
like a rock star.
You do when you get off the helicopter to go to the show. It's pretty cool. If you want to be like our last winner for the Black Keys, you can text us now at 71010. We'll make a draw of all of those entries on Monday. Monday. That's the day.
Do you want me to do the timeline for you?
What's that?
Do you know how old this song is?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Hang on. I like this part. Wait a second. While I'm thinking. Almost there. Almost there. Here we go. Gotta respect the guitar solo. That's it.
Oh,
Anyways,
huge.
how old is this song, Lisa?
Well, when we talk classic rock,
Yeah.
it just doesn't age. It just gets better and
There you go.
gathers patina. 47.
Years old?
Yeah.
What?
1979.
Time can't work that way. That's incorrect. I don't believe you. I choose not to believe you.
Highway to Hell recorded in 1979. Written by the late Bon Scott and, of course, Angus and his brother Malcolm.
But 1979 was only 20 years ago.
Oh, right.
Right.
You are correct. So my math is off.
It just doesn't feel right.
Rock doesn't die. It just gets better. It gathers a certain sheen.
It's the CFAX Summer of Rock presented by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt. And now for the headlines out of the newsroom, here's Lisa.
Let's talk tariffs. The Trump administration again proposing a 10% additional tariff on Canada and other countries following an investigation into forced labor in supply chains, apparently something Canada is doing. The U.S. State's Trade Representative releasing a report late Tuesday after meeting with Dominic LeBlanc in Washington, saying that Canada, Mexico, the UK, and other countries should be hit with duties because they weren't enforcing this ban. It also proposes a 12.5% duty on dozens of other countries. The new tariff would not apply to goods compliant under CUSMA. The new tariff, of course, came hours after that meeting with U.S. Trade Representative James Singer in Washington, ahead of the review of the Continental Trade Pact. The executive director of Spinal Cord Injury BC says the charity was forced to cancel its raffle for a pair of World Cup tickets. That's after FIFA sent it a 9-page letter accusing it of ticket violation and trademark infringement. Chris McBride says a staff member bought the tickets for the June 21st match between New Zealand and Egypt at BC Place in Vancouver. The charity thought it would be a good, fun way to raise money. They did raise about $2,300 before they received letters from FIFA's lawyers. McBride says the charity was surprised to learn they were in violation of any rules and have since refunded raffle participants and listed the match tickets on FIFA's official resale site. And that is your headline news to 8:46.
Thank you, Lisa. Coming up, we're going to check in with our favorite charity around here, CFAX Santa's Anonymous, which has a new way for you to kind of help out. Christine Goodsir is joining us in the studio. And I'm just going to say hi to you right now, Christine, because you're right there. How you doing?
Hi, great. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for coming down. We're going to talk in a few moments about a thing. And can I say what it's called?
Yes.
It's called Kids Count.
Yay!
We're going to explain what that means in just a few moments, and also just talk about all the wonderful things CFAX Santa's Anonymous does year-round, because that's the name of the game here. That's what we're talking about, the fact that this is all year round.
All year round.
Okay, that's coming up next. We've also got your traffic and weather in just a few moments, where we will see if we still got any of these showers sprinkling down. Did you see any on your way in? Was it raining at all for you, Christine?
No.
Nothing for you.
Clear sailing.
Because that's kind of the picture for a lot of folks. There's just like these odd little sprinkles here and there. So
Keep them odd.
Keep them odd.
We don't want them to be even.
Well, we'll take a look at the rest of the traffic and weather. If you see a problem out there, is there crashing your way? Let us know at 71010.
The CFAX 1070 Summer of Rock. All right. Win a trip to Vancouver and catch a concert from the Sax Point Pub Summer of Rock lineup. Listen to CFAX from 6 till 6.
When you hear a clip from our Artist of the Week,
text ROCK to 71010 with your first name
to win that concert.
You'll fly with Helijet and stay at the Rosedale on Robson Suite Hotel. Brought to you by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt.
Stream us on the iHeartRadio app.
CFAX 1070 traffic. Texter at 71010 says there is a fender bender on the Pat Bay Highway southbound between Elk and Beaver Lake. Traffic is still flowing, says the texter, but watch out potentially for a snag there if you're on the Pat Bay Highway. And thanks so much for the update at 71010. You can keep them coming. Let us know what's facing you on the commute. Everything else is looking pretty typical. We have seen a few sprinkles of rain here and there. No major rain event, and it's not everywhere, just kind of scattered around. We'll see if that keeps going, because for the forecast, it really is just for a mostly cloudy day. A little wind picking up off the Juan de Fuca Strait, and this weirdly warm night we had where it didn't really cool off. That's kind of, those temperatures just kind of stick around. We're going to see a high of maybe 22 degrees, a little cooler by the water, and it's already 20 degrees for a lot of Victoria as we speak. Longer range forecast, partly cloudy tonight, lows to 11. Tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, highs of about 18 degrees. Showers on Friday, so we do get wet then, and there's a chance we'll see some showers Saturday and Sunday, but also some sunny breaks, so a bit of a mixed bag on the weekend ahead of us. It will cool down, though. Highs only around 16 degrees or so for Friday and Saturday.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, let's talk about CFAX Santa's Anonymous and a brand new way you can kind of help in the community all year round through CFAX Santa's Anonymous. Christine Goodsir, Executive Director of Santa's Anonymous. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great to get you here. How things been?
Great. Super busy at the workshop.
Yeah.
Santa's workshop.
And that's what's kind of fun to remind people is that it is, it's June, and it's nice outside and all this stuff. And, you know, Christmas might be far from your mind, but Santa's workshop is still going full swing.
It is. Every Wednesday and Thursday, it's full of our amazing volunteers and planning for next year and this coming season and meetings all the time. And, of course, then there's our children's grant program. So we've been very busy.
Yeah, and the thing we're talking about today is this new way to donate, but not just donate, but have more power over where your money goes in the community and what it is you want to accomplish with that donation. Talk about Kids Count.
Kids Count is our way of showcasing how we do work year-round. And it's beyond Christmas. When we say CFAX, Santa's Anonymous Society, everyone thinks Christmas. But with Kids Count, which is powered by CFAX Santa's Anonymous, we have a few different programs that fall under that. So with Kids Count, we are able and focusing right now on the Children's Grant Program and gift boxes for kids and organizations that are helping kids year-round, like police, fire, and the community organizations that work directly with children in need. So, but Kids Count itself, this is our opportunity to talk about need and helping beyond Christmas.
And how does it work? So you go to the website, cfax1070.com. Sorry, cfaxsantas.com. Wrong one. We got the two websites. And you go, and how does it actually look when you go to donate?
When you go to right on our homepage, we have our main 5 funding focuses. Now, the Children's Grant Program is overseen by a funding committee. I mean, Lisa sits on that funding committee and has done for many years. 7 of our board members are involved in the funding committee, and they make the decisions about where this funding goes. And so they our funding focuses for many years, and especially since 2020, has been hunger.
Yeah, of course. Which, food security and just, the cost of living and the cost of food has been such a huge story.
Mental wellness.
Yes.
Sports and education. I mean, sports and summer camps. You have to have that fun and education support. And then there's the greater good. It's for all of those other things that fall through the cracks, like a family in crisis who's just had a fire or something like that. So since 2002, if we're successful during our miracle on wherever we are,
our miracle day,
radiothon, then we can turn around with leftover funds from Christmas and apply it to this Children's Grant Program. But, and last year, this amounted to well over $300,000, as you know, as president. So in those 5 funding focuses, when you go to cfaxsantas.com, you can say, I'm going to donate $100, but I want to donate to mental wellness and I want to donate to hunger. 50 goes to each, and 50 goes to that.
That's really cool that you got the control. I'm looking at it right now. You can just hit the button: education, hunger, mental well-being, sports and camps, the greater good, which is emergency aid for families in crisis. You got those options, and you can split it how you want or put it all in one. That's really neat. I like that a lot.
It is. It's fantastic. And, it gives us the opportunity to know where the funds are and where our donors want to see the funds go in our community. And then we can show our donors the impact of what this does.
Yeah, that's so cool. And Lisa, who we mentioned, is on the board. You get to sit on the funding committee, and it's neat to see all the different, ways this money goes out all year round. And you see that real close.
I got to be on it. I'm a bit selfish with this because it's so nice to be able to say, let's put this money here, let's put that money. I'm not spending my money, but the money that we're putting out there does such good work. It goes so deep into the community. And so to be able to say, yeah, let's take that, say, $10,000 and put it there and know it's going to do good work. That is so empowering to be able to do that. I really should pay to be on the board.
Yeah, we should try. Actually, there's a fundraiser. You pay us to come and get to feel the goodwill.
Remember who you're sitting with here.
Lisa,
that's an opportunity.
It was all out loud, I know, but
that's an opportunity.
Christine will take you up on it.
Oh, that's fun.
It's good.
And tonight we sit actually in a funding committee meeting to review our bursaries. I mean, there's such important work being done through the Kids Count Children's Grant Program. And so please check it out and talk to us. Give us a call. Myself or Megan can answer any of the questions you have about Kids Count, about the Children's Grant Program. And of course, there's the amazing Dan Derringer, who's chaired that committee now for, I would say, probably 16 years. Mm-hmm. And so special thanks to Dan, who really, really keeps his finger on the pulse of all this.
Tireless.
Yes.
Yeah. And the bursaries. Humbling.
Yes.
I'm deciding what pants to wear that day, and these kids are doing big things already in the community. Just overachiever teens, phenomenal kids.
Yeah, that's another way your money helps is, with these bursaries. Mm-hmm. So Kids Count, through CFAX Santa's Anonymous, it's another way you can help. It's another way you can maybe help direct your donation a little more in a targeted way. It's really cool. Check it out, cfaxsantas.com. It's up and running right now. Christine, since I got you here, do you mind answering a question from a listener?
Sure.
At 71010, simply asking, can we still donate toys? Is that still something you take at this time of year, or do we mostly do that around the kind of main Christmas campaign?
We do take toys.
Okay.
Yeah, new toys, new unwrapped toys, and we take them. And those, that we're going to be talking a little bit more about kids counting the gift boxes in the weeks to come. And that'll give you a new idea of other work that we're doing in the community and how our volunteers are coming together every week to make sure that gets done.
Now, so there's a second part of this question. So if so, which is yes, where do you drop it off?
That's another thing. We do it by appointment only.
Okay, so you just have to make an appointment to come bring it.
Yep. So please visit us at info@cfaxsantas.com. You can email us there or call us, and our website, our number's right on our website. It's cfaxsantas.com.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for the question at 71010. Great, you still want to donate toys, so we love it. At CFAX Santa's Anonymous, Executive Director Christine Goodser, great to talk to you as always.
You too. Thanks, Ryan.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of CFAX this morning. We'll be back with you tomorrow here on the morning show, but Lisa's got your news coming up. So much more to come on the program, so stay with us. We will talk again tomorrow, though.